Hi friends, good evening, and this is your host Ankit Khandelwal joining you from Delhi, India, and we have Kimberly Calhoun joining us from North Carolina, United States of America. Good morning, Kim. Namaste, and good morning to the world. Welcome to IBM TV Celeb Tuesday, and how are you doing today?
Oh, good morning and good evening to you. I think we're going to have feedback today. Anyway, the best I can, not much sleep last night, a lot of storms, and somewhere out there we had a huge tree fall. You could hear it snap a couple of times and then crack and then hit the ground, and it felt like an earthquake. So fairly big tree, but it's too wet to go out and find out which tree, but so far no damage to any buildings that we can tell. So how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I mean, it's a hot,
Jeez.
sunny day in India, and too much of things going around, and a regular day for us.
A regular day. Isn't that weird? Is this our 100th anniversary?
Yeah, today is the 100th episode, non-stop since 9th of March, and I think we are celebrating it on a Celeb Tuesday.
So did this become our new norm, Ankit?
I think so.
We get there every day. So this is our new norm. You know, when we began this, there was no normal to anything, not even to the world. COVID had hit. And what we wanted to do was just bring some calm, good, reliable information that was out there so that we also probably felt better about it too. I preferred the information that we were getting from our board of advisors than I did from the media at the time. So, this has been great. And I'm glad we did this. Thank you very much for your dedication.
Thank you to you, and thank you to the team. And because
Yeah.
I mean, it's a teamwork. It's a teamwork. I mean, no one can do it on his own. And you need a lot of strength, conviction, passion, resilience, and a lot of things. There are a lot of ups and downs. I mean, if you look back those 100 days, it was too much. We started this when there were winters in India. It was cold in US, and now we are hot summer, and then we are close down to monsoon now. So it's a journey, and I still don't remember. I mean, we were discussing about March, and today is in June. So I don't know how come those April, May months went up, because I'm at home. I'm just doing my work, my office work, and IBM and all those things going around. And we are talking to a lot of people around the world. I think we spoke to more than 100 experts from more than 100 countries, and that is the best part. And I am still not able to manage the time zone. So my time zone is EST. And I can't talk to everyone about EST.
Have you ever
So Jim mentioned me on PST and all those things. I said, okay, let's convert it to EST, because I can't do the time zone.
So I feel like if you've ever seen the TV series called The Twilight Zone, I felt like that there's this gap in there between that first day when I said, okay, yeah, kid, I'll do this with you. And then I never forget the day we looked at each other, and it was a Friday, and we go, do we do tomorrow? I don't know. Should we do tomorrow? Let's do it. And we dove in and we did the 7 days, and I go, oh my gosh, we started something we can't go back, right? Once you've expanded to a certain place, sometimes there's no going back. And I'll never forget the day you go, Kim, let's do this 24 hours a day. And I'm like, you are so energized and innovative and so full of great positive ideas that I want to do all that. But you know what happened? Instead of us having to go for 24 hours ourselves, we've expanded new shows. People have come on our show, and they've started their own shows. How great is that?
That's wonderful. And the best part is that they are from different demographics and different language, different culture, and they wanted to be a part of IBM TV. And Kim, you won't believe, I spent around 2 hours in the afternoon time talking to people who wanted to be a part of IBM TV from different parts of the world. So today I had a word with Anandi Mai and a guy who did our podcast. So he called me, and then we are discussing about things. And you need to make them understand what we are doing and how we are doing. And Mansi also is working on that program, which will start on Thursday, 10:30 a.m. EST and 8 p.m. IST, and that's about what kind of problem men are facing. I mean, in India we say that men are strong and they can manage it out, but there are a lot of feelings which men can't share with anyone.
Well,
So we are working on that, and so those kind of discussions, I mean, takes you to a different level, and it keeps on exhausting. I had to visit hospital as well because of my father's dialysis. So there are a lot of things going around, but it's good that we have finished 100 days after a long journey, and we have scored a century. That's what we call in a cricket. It's a century.
it's a century. I feel like a century, but not in a bad way. You know, sometimes when you say, "Wow, that was a long time," it actually, like you said, I feel like I went to bed March 8th after our first show, and I woke up, and here we are, 100 days later. I've had a lot of fun. It has been a lot of work, and one of the things I wanted it to be for the viewers was an example of what it takes to become successful, right? And it's to be reliable. And we had this talk yesterday with some of the professors and experts. You know, you have to be reliable. You have to show up. You have to do your homework. You have to be prepared. And so you don't see, like Ankit said, he spent 2 hours last night just talking to people who want to be part of our programming. And we're actually opening up the doors to China, which has not been done anywhere. While people are building walls, we're going to open up doors to them, and they're very excited about it. So this is what I tell people, you know, the power of positive thinking. But here we are today, looking at back 100 days, a century days, if you want to look at it that way, of good, positive things, and we're growing. And you know, Ankit spent 2 hours last night. I think I spent an extra hour, and then I had to go do some other things. Sometimes we have other things we have to work on to make all of this work. And we've got new shows starting. We're training new people every day, and it's fun watching them start their shows, and they all end up with the same problems we had when we began, which I think is interesting. You know, there's just some things. Thank you. There's some things that you cannot write a book on. Am I right, Ankit?
Certainly, I can understand.
You just have to say, work with us. Let us help guide you there, and you'll get there. Because here's the problem. We're growing too. And things change, as Ankit will tell you, what we know today in technology is not going to be the same tomorrow. And so the people are learning how to, what we call, fly by the seat of your pants strategies. But and I know that doesn't sound like it goes with my planning and preparing. Trust me, we've been planned and prepared. We always have a backup if something fails. But there are a lot of things that are changing daily. But Ankit, this has been fun. What would you have done different?
Different in what sense? I mean, during a lockdown?
Well, okay, no, not the leaders different. I'm talking about it, you know, looking back. There's always something different that you always go, you know, if I look back on when we started this, what would you have done a little bit different?
So I'll tell you. So I had a word. I although didn't get time to talk to a lot of my friends and family members during the past 3 months because of the scheduling I have. But I was wondering that a lot of people are sitting at home idle and just waiting for opening up of economy. Some of them are learning new skills. Some of them are focusing on their cooking, culinary skills, and some of them are doing fitness and things like that. Because it's a different culture in India as compared to what we have in US and other countries. But a lot of them are also learning new skills and I mean gaining some knowledge or doing some kind of an online course and things like that. And I feel that I'm not doing anything. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what I'm doing. But now I can see that after doing those 100 days it's like a marathon for me. And I've learned a lot of things on IBM while hosting the shows, post-production, pre-production, talking to a lot of people. And it was also learning because you are on show and you're learning a lot of things. We are learning a lot of things on economics, how celebs are doing, what kind of life they have, how they are doing their work. Then we spoke to a lot of startups, although they don't show, but we have a lot of case studies with startups. So there's a lot of learning in IBM as well, and that's what I've learned. And you won't believe, Kim, a couple of years back, I had a word with my wife that I told her that I want to do something on digital in terms of how to go and talk to people online on a video call. And then I thought that my forte would be technology. So why don't I start a show with CIUs? And I was working on it. I tried to get the things done, but because of the because of that production cost, you know how much that production cost you. I just took a back seat because that was too much, and there were no sponsors. So to overcome that, but I think that I had a vision that I want to go online and do all those things, and then that suddenly IBM happened. I met with Nick on a lot of different platforms, and then we had a lot. I still miss our meetings basically. We had a lot of fun meetings on Fridays, which I think we should continue. I don't know. I know that time is a problem, but if we can continue that meeting, that would be great because that was something where we don't have to go online. It's kind of a meeting which goes for an hour or 2 hours, and it was fun to have them talking and sharing the best thing. And now we have a big team. When we were on IBM board, people don't show up now. Now, if we do a meeting, it's a big meeting. Like maybe 100 people can show up now. So that was fun. There's a lot of learning. There's a lot of conviction. There are a lot of interesting things happening up. And during this lockdown, people are low, so it's a good way to interact with them. And sometimes I feel low, sometimes you feel low. But when we join the show online, it's a different vibration and feelings. That's what Anandi Mai said. Taught us that there are some good vibrations and bad vibrations and low and high vibrations, and that's what it is. In fact, I spoke to Anandi Mai, and she'll be starting her show soon, maybe on Saturdays or Sundays. Sundays looks difficult because Sundays a music kind of a day, so I don't want to take that.
Right.
Serious. But Saturday would be interesting. Just after Dr. Sabgu's show, if we can set up something, and then let's see how it goes. So there's a lot of interesting things going around here.
I think you're right, and I think you kind of interesting because some of the things that we talked about people who this has impacted in a negative way. We put too much pressure on ourselves, right, for failure or not doing something right or making a mistake. And celebrities, in fact, probably take it the hardest, right? They're in the public face all the time. It could be one wrong photo and you look horrible and you think, oh my God, my career's ruined. People are going to make fun of me. Because even if they're people who get up there and joke a lot, like we learned with Robin Williams, they carry a lot of weight with them. But even just small businesses like us or small communities or startups, there's a lot of pressure that a lot of people do not see. And you're always going to look back and say, I wish I had done something different. Right. But hindsight is 20/20 vision, but it's not really, because you could have changed that and something else would have happened. So the best thing to do is just keep going, pivot, just like Ankit said. We started and we kept going. Things happen. We just keep changing and keep going. We don't look back. We might look back and go, what could we have done better? How can we prevent that from happening moving forward? But we don't sit on the back, right? We keep moving forward. And that's, I think, what true success is all about. We can live in yesterday a lot, but that's not taking care of tomorrow. Yesterday's build good memories from them. Find all the blessings and build good memories, but don't be afraid of moving forward just because you failed. India suffered a huge loss, a big celebrity that everyone knew and loved. And there was just something that happened in his life that he could not accept anymore, and he took his life. And when somebody takes their life like that with no message back for people, we will speculate for years why. And because you think, wow, he had it all. And sometimes they don't. But remember this, people, we can be a voice to help anyone. Just say that you see someone and you're having a bad day, but instead you decided to smile, not grump at them. And they were having a bad day too, and they smiled instead of grumping. And then they turned around and they smiled instead of grumping at somebody else. And that ripple effect continued. And somewhere in all of that ripple, somebody was having such a bad day that they were going to take their life that day, and they didn't. Just because of one smile, right? And we have to think about that. That there are just so many lives out there that are impacted by one person. And you don't think about that. And I read a book that was very impactful to me called The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. And actually, it was required reading to enter North Carolina State University at one time. I don't know if it still is, but I think it should be. And it's not about any one particular religion just because of the words heaven. And this is what I told people: be a little more open-minded to it. But the book was fabulous in understanding the ripple effect of one step of when you just kick a ball and how that ball continued and was left unattended and how somebody tripped over it and how it, the daisy chain of that one ball being kicked, right? And we never know until later. But again, too, you got to live with no regrets, right? Do things with good intentions. Think about what you do before you do it. And remember to always say, I love you to the people you love before you say goodbye, right? Because you never know if that's the last time you'll see them. And trust me, living with that regret is big. And I read in the National Geographic today, and I know people will go, oh God, here she goes again with the National Geographic. But I was reading about the World War II survivors, right? And, all of the killing and the horrible, horrific things that they did, the Hitler's people did to people. And one of the nurses said, we had to do what we had to do to survive. It wasn't whether we believed in what Hitler believed in. We were there. Nobody came and rescued us and brought us to America to work in America. But she said, not one time when somebody was dying did I hear them say, "Hail to Hitler, may Hitler survive." She said every one of them, the last words, the last breath that they took was someone in their loved family that they loved. Okay? And that statement, Ray, just meant the world to me, right? These men who gave their lives for their country, their last breath wasn't "Hail to my country" or "Hail to Hitler." It was, "Please make sure my wife knows I love her. Please make sure my family knows I love them." So think about that before you go do something, right, today. And make every moment count, and it doesn't have to count for money or for your business. Make it count in your heart. And if you even if it's the simple thing, I love you. All right. Yeah. Take care of that. Give that person a kiss. You stop. Even if you think you're going to miss the train, stop, go back and give that person a kiss. And
I'll tell you, whatever we have to do, we have a book knowledge and then we have a practical knowledge. We know these kind of things we have to do. But when you talk about practicality, people are not able to follow all those things because you might be good and you might do a lot of things for anyone or everyone. But when you don't get the reciprocation from the other side, it won't happen. And you know how Namaste happened? Because Namaste is like two hands. If I do it like this, this is not Namaste. This is not a greet. So you have to have two hands. So it could be like this way or it could be like this way. So suppose if my hand is 50% here, so the other hand should be here. So basically, it's more about communication and it's more about getting the things back. Because if you don't get that back, you lose the appreciation and you lose that gut to do all the right things. So you might not be doing that thing for that person, but maybe for someone else. So it's more about I don't have words, but it's more about engagement and communication, because it should not be from your side always.
Well, it should be everyone. And what's interesting is when you put two hands together and you rub them, it makes electricity. Our body is full of electricity and energy, right? And that's where energy comes from. And when you put the two together, it feels good, right? There's a comfort zone. Just like when they say when you touch your face, there's a comfort zone. You know what I do now when I walk? If I go to the store, right? I've been able to go to the store more than once now, or to the doctors. So I don't touch anything around me, right? Because my fear is touching something and having to constantly clean my hands. So I put my hands together when I walk through a store now. I do. I put my hands together. I hold them like this. So I don't touch anything that I shouldn't touch, right? And now I remember not to touch, but now I'm also praying all the time, right? And I know people think, is she crazy? This woman, she's got to be crazy. But and I do, and because we're wearing masks and we really can't see each other's faces to 100% recognize each other, which I still recognize the people. You know, I still go like this. You know, I see you, hello, many blessings. And they do it back now. There's nothing wrong with giving somebody your blessings. And this is what I told somebody one time: when someone wishes me happy Hanukkah, I'm not insulted just because I'm not Jewish. I'm like, oh my gosh, they just gave me the best blessing of their religion. Wow, that made my day. And please don't take it wrong if I say Merry Christmas to you, because that is my blessing, the very best blessings from my religion. If Ankit says Namaste to me, I am not, by any means, I am not insulted. Or if Dr. Yu comes and does this, I'm like, oh my gosh, he just blessed me. I am so blessed. We're all from different cultures. We're all from different upbringings and the way we were raised. I've spoke with someone of a different spiritual world this week, and it was fabulous conversation. Oh my God, we had so much in common. I couldn't believe it, but it was just a different spiritual world.
Kim, also, I mean, when the other religion greets you with a different gesture or whatever, we have to respect that, because that's what we are not doing earlier. I mean, that is what it's not about IBM TV, but generally people don't do that. So whenever I visit any country, I make sure that I visit their temples and see what kind of religious practices they have and how they follow. Because if you meet a general or a normal person, they go to temple and they are like us. It's just that they have a different culture, they have different gestures and different language. That's it. The rest, everything is common.
The words might be different, but they mean the same, right?
Yeah. I visited a country called Indonesia, where there's a beautiful island called Bali. So they have temples like us, but they have a different practice with gods. They have similar gods with different names and different practices. So we just have to see what they're doing, because they're also doing it from 1,000 years, likewise.
Yeah.
And they are following it, and they believe in that, and we should respect it. I mean, it should not be. And you know that, I mean, I always like to reciprocate how Dr. Yu and other people gesture or greet us, basically, because we have to give them back so that they feel happy about that people are adapting their culture. So that's the way forward. And I think our guests are waiting us on backstage.
It is Celebrity Tuesday, and we have two celebrities with us today from IBM TV. Welcome. It's our 100th anniversary, 100 days. So,
and thank you, Tasha. Tasha was there for all 100 days with us, including our board meeting. And thank you, Tasha, for helping us, supporting us. And thank you, Jim. Jim is our new member of IBM channel. I won't say new, but new in sense, because we have a lot of members. So Jim is one of them.
Yes.
And
we would like very dedicated, and that's what it takes.
Yes.
Thank you.
But also, the first thing I did was look for IBM TV for Dummies, and there wasn't one.
So I guess you're going to write the book on this, right?
I don't know if I can, but I'm learning. And Ankit, I think one of the things that you must know now, as part of the learning of the 100 days, is to have a backup laptop, or to have one stripped of everything but IBM TV.
Right.
I have, Jim, I'll tell you, I have 2 more laptops, but those are old laptops. Those don't have that bot or that performance so that I can run those shows, basically. Those are just good for emails.
It's just...
One of my key learnings was that even though I live in Silicon Valley, don't count on internet service. I got knocked off my first show. The whole Menlo Park area was knocked out, and I was part of it. So, it doesn't matter where you live, your broadband and your bandwidth and all of that stuff is just given to you, and you have to, keep going even if it gets knocked out.
That's right.
Jim, I'll tell you that the new normal is people won't ask you about your height and weight. They will ask you about your bandwidth.
My new medical form. A new thing to fill out on my medical form.
There you go. It's...
Jim, I think, we should thank all our guests who have been a part of a journey, starting from Rakesh Krishnan to Dr. Saggu to Dr. Tula. And you need to help me, because or else I have to pop up the sheet, basically. But we have to thank all those people who joined us and who were there on our journey on IBM TV. And special thanks to Vin and
We could
team.
not do it without Win and Nick. I mean, my God, Nick started this, right?
Yeah.
Nick is the one who stepped forward and said, hey, let's acquire this. Nick was the one who said, why can't we try GoToMeeting? Why can't we do? So Nick, you know, again, a great team, because none of us said, no, we can't. We just said, why not? And that's how you do things. And you know what I think is funny is that sometimes we'll get on a roll here and we're actually sharing some of our secrets to the world of what it takes to be successful. And one of the great things about this is we've got, you know, 2 chess masters doing what? Sharing success secrets of what it takes to become successful playing chess. We've got a wonderful chess game. We've got Alexander, who's now stepping up to the plate and saying, I'm going to teach you some of my secrets on trading stocks, right? Because
I'm going to be tuning in for that.
Oh, heck yeah. You know, this is what I tell people. You can never be too smart. I'm sorry, but you know, there are a lot of people that think they can. But my dad always told me the smartest person in the room is the one who sits there and lets everyone else be the smart one. And Win always says, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. That's what Win tells me. If you're the smartest person in the room, you need to move. And I'm like, that's good, you know, because, you know, you get kind of confident and comfortable and you think, wow, you're getting paid to be in that room to speak to people. But then one day you realize, you start hearing questions and you go, boy, I'm not so smart, but I got to look like I'm smart so I can still get paid. And then you see people who do what I call the job security moves, right? Making sure that everyone else looks so dumb that they get considered smart. I call that the IRS and government now, but and lawyers.
But you never build yourself up by tearing others down.
You don't, but they do. This is you know, the government does, right? The government makes the laws so difficult to work with that you have to hire a lawyer to go in to find and seek justice or to seek what's fair. So no, that the government does. The government does this, but we don't have to. You're absolutely right. And Jim, you have a saying, and I always get it wrong, but can you tell us, you know, the one about the head and the heart? And
yeah, I try to remind myself every day not to let praise go to my head and criticism go to my heart.
There you go. And Sasha is always giving us some wise words about just not giving up and keep going. And, you know, hey, you can still have a cigar once a day. It might, you know, it's all in balance. I think that's what Sasha has been for me, is just all the balance. And
what I've learned from Sasha is self-confidence.
Wow.
Self-confidence.
Look at him. Just,
yeah. Yeah.
But you know,
I learned how to keep yourself patient and just listen a lot of things before you say anything.
I think Sasha was learning. I think Sasha it was a good. He knows what it takes to lead. And my dad always said, if you wanted to be a good leader, you have to learn to be a follower. But Sasha and you, I think you both sit back, you listen, you learn. Rakesh has been doing the same thing, just watching and learning. I'm so impressed with everyone, because everyone, they've learned how to, you know, the harder thing for me was to learn how to do private chat. And I still forget to check there for what people are doing. And I always miss saying goodbye. And I hope nobody takes offense to that. But I'm so trying to make sure everything else is running and that we share some information from, you know, pictures on the screen and things like that, that I miss saying goodbye to people. And it kind of hurts. But then I see them again and I go, oh, right, I get to see them again. So, so you know,
Kim, you know that we have recorded 25,000 minutes.
Oh, ooh, you reported it. How many?
25,000 minutes we have recorded.
25,000 minutes. Wow. Okay, because, you know, Nick and I, we weigh and measure our costs and expenses by minutes, right? Like it costs $1,000 per minute to do a recording on a TV set with, you know, a lot of the cameras, the crew, the experts, the sound mixers, the engineers, the directors, and that's a simple set. Okay, that's a very simple set. $1,000 a minute is what you will record at. So 25,000 minutes.
It blows my mind.
Okay, Nick, did you hear that? 25,000 minutes we have recorded. That's insane.
You're starting to talk big numbers.
So somebody do that math for me. 25,000 minutes times $1,000 a minute. I mean,
just move the zeros.
Just move the zeros, yeah. So my brain won't do that right now. Yeah, I'm baffled. 25. Okay, so that's a lot of content, of dollars worth of content. But people don't know that that's just filming. That's not going to air. So another thing that I calculate by the minute is how many victims there are.
This minute I'm talking about recorded minutes on our streaming live.
Yeah, 25,000.
So if you add the post-production minutes, if you add the non-recorded minutes, the number is much bigger.
Oh, I know. That's what I mean. It's just the live minutes that we've done. That's insane.
Yeah, these are the live minutes. Yeah.
So yeah, if you add up all the other that we have done, it gets extensive.
And if you add all our other shows, the numbers will again add up to that. These are only about.
Look at how much Sasha's done. I bet Sasha hasn't even calculated what he has done. How many minutes do you have, Sasha?
I never calculated that. It's
how many shows, Sasha, you have done? How many shows you have? Is it 5 shows?
You mean this chess program?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, probably 6, maybe 6, 7.
Wow. Already.
Around minimum 50 hours.
I think
15
so,
hours. Minimum 15 hours.
I want the opportunity to say how proud I am of the two of you, because I think of where you were. You're just talking about the accomplishments you've done, but on March 8th, there was nothing.
Yeah, right.
March 9th, you started it, and now you're here talking big numbers.
Right. And I mean,
it's tip of my hat to you guys.
When I started,
could do it without you.
The first show I did it on a car. Second show I did it when I was at Starbucks doing my meetings, and because it was a normal day in office, and suddenly lockdown happened, and then we started.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that because I go, "You're in Starbucks. What are you doing in Starbucks?" It's a we're okay here. We took our temperature. I remember. Remember you showed Mom.
Yeah.
I took my temperature, and I'm like, okay.
I'm
So
good.
that's all we have to
Here
do.
you go.
So and it's amazing how much we learned since then, right? But you just I feel like an infant back then now, compared to now. Like wow,
That's the number.
25 million. Thank you, Irene. Thank you.
Irene is a friend from Malaysia, and I wanted to invite her. She is busy because of a lot of stuff. So she just calculated and shared the number.
Wow, thank you, Irene. 25 million. Wow, that would be $25 million worth of content, Nick.
You're not paying enough.
I hope he's listening. Nick's had to take care of some business. He's been in a move since COVID started. Can you imagine having to move, sell a home and move to a new home that was being built, constructed during COVID? Can you imagine?
No.
And so today,
Stressful enough anyways. Yeah.
right. So he had to make sure people were COVID certified before they came to his house. He had to, and believe me, Nick will do that.
Yeah.
And Kim, today we have a special guest from India, Shrey Khandelwal, and he is from the wedding industry. And you always wanted to know how big is the industry and what kind of things we do in the weddings and how why we say it's a big fight in a wedding. So we have Shrey with us talking about that. I will just take him online.
How do you do weddings in India, Shrey? Hey.
Hi everyone. Hi. Namaste.
Good evening. I am so excited to speak with you.
Good evening. How you guys doing?
We're celebrating. Today is our 100th anniversary.
Oh, congratulations. That's great.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so you just made $25 million also of content.
Well,
We spent $25 million.
we spent $25 So the wedding industry is probably very similar to the media industry. It cost us $1,000 a minute to film on a normal TV show, right? So if we went to the set to the studio, and we filmed with 3 cameras, the crew, the engineers, the content, and then we had to go to air with it. But if we filmed for the day, it would cost us $1,000 a minute.
Oh, really? That's
Yes.
a lot of money.
That's a lot of money for a lot of videos that get edited and stuff like that.
And to add on that, we are talking about global presence, and it's a. So say you know about www. Can you elaborate what is www?
World Wide Web.
And what is WWT?
Worldwide Television.
That is IBM TV.
Yeah, and welcome to WWT.
So we are broadcasting on more than 100 countries.
You guys will have to excuse me for a second. I'm getting a message that my face lighting isn't that good. Let me just switch on a couple of more.
Okay, that's great. We'll take our time.
I dim my lights before I come on.
Yeah, I've got. So what's weird is I have several different like AirKit backup computers, but none of them work with the same lighting. So I have 3 different sets of lighting depending on what computer I have to use that day, because my computers all burn up. Like I overwork them and they start to burn up, so I have to switch. And one of them's a new computer; it's only a year old. And it burns up the fastest. It's the Apple. Hello, Apple. It's my, I like it. It's not my favorite to use. To me, it's not user friendly. AnkKit's had to teach me how to use it. But my other one, the lighting system is horrific on it. Like if I use the same lighting that I use for the Apple, I look like I'm in a dark space. And you would think they would be this similar cameras, but they're not. So where am I echoing? So where am I echoing?
Yes, you are echoing here. Somewhere.
Yes, I am somewhere. So one of the things I'm excited about a wedding is I know the effort that goes into planning a wedding. It is very similar to planning a TV show, right? And weddings can cost a lot of money. If you've ever had to pay for one, you would know what I'm talking about. Sasha, have you paid for a wedding?
Yes, I did. Yes.
It's a lot of work, isn't it? It's a lot of work.
I couldn't find anybody else who would do that, so I decided I have to do it myself. And back in 1996, this was about $80,000. So today it probably would be substantially more amount, but no regrets.
But it's a lot of work in planning. Shrey, welcome again.
Yes, my wife is working on.
There is a green dot on your screen, which is kind of blocking.
Wipe it off. It didn't wipe off.
That's my camera's light, and it's right on my face.
There you go. Perfect. There you go.
Better now?
Yes.
Now it's fine. Now it's fine.
Interesting. All of this technology, right? We have to go through. But, you do something that I think is fabulous. And I know it costs a lot of money because of all the elements that are involved in planning a wedding. But in India, you guys have the coolest weddings. I don't care. I know we got cool weddings.
I'll second that. Yeah.
I mean, it's a celebration I want to partake in one day. I told AnkKit, if we have to make a fake wedding and just come and film it, I'm in.
Now technically you don't have to do that. Let things get back to a little normal, no? We'll invite you for a wedding, and the scalability that we are into, it's probably the largest weddings we do in the country.
Yeah. Right. Wow. So thank you so much. Yeah, I would love to attend one because there's just so much to it. Like to me, it's just like a piece of art, right? And every wedding planned here is like a piece of art, but there's just so many colors, music, celebrations. I've heard about so many weddings in India that it's beautiful. So explain to us what you do as a wedding planner. I guess, is that what you're called, a wedding planner?
Yeah, we call it a wedding planner. That's right. Okay. So I'll just quickly take you through my company. We are called Touchwood Group. And sorry, yeah.
Continue.
So we're called Touchwood Group. We've been in the trade for almost 22 years now, and so we call ourselves 22-year young. rather. And we've seen it all, from smallest of the events to biggest of the events. I remember the first event that I did was probably 11 years back, the first wedding that I did. And since then it's been a great ride. And it's not only weddings that we do a lot of other things also. We are a part of political activations in the country. We do a lot of on ground support and marketing plans for a lot of corporates also. But again, our core business comes from the weddings that we do. That's a quick introduction about us. And apart from that, the Indian wedding size, I mean, if I tell you first, it's a huge industry today. It's almost a $2 billion industry in India. And we call ourselves wedding planners, and Indian weddings are full of traditions. There's a lot of emotions, there are a lot of traditions that are part of it. And to execute it, you need to become a part of the family. It's not like a very professional structure, but it's more like a professional come personal touch you give to the entire thing. And you become a part of their family while you're doing things. So it's a very closed affair when you when you turn around a wedding in a family. Also, the gestation period of a wedding is almost 6 to 8 months, can go up to 1 year also, depending on the size of the wedding and depending on the details that you get into for a wedding.
Wow.
So
insane.
yeah, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time.
No.
And then
Wonderful. And Shrey, you have mentioned about a lot of things, but viewers and especially Kim and our team would like to know the number, because they believe in mathematics and numbers.
Numbers.
So what are the general expected capacity for a good big fat wedding? How many days it will go through? How many functions? How many dresses? How many different kinds of foods and cuisine? And especially the budget.
Let me give you interesting ones then. Okay, so let's go about a year back. Let's talk about a wedding, the kind of weddings that we used to do about a year back or probably 6 months back. Things are different now though.
Yeah.
So about 6 months back, generally a query comes like, so we generally get a call from one of the families, either the bride side or the groom side. Technically, it's more like the bride side is calling us. So we get a call from the bride side. They tell us that, there are about 500 people and they want to do a destination wedding somewhere in India, or probably we can take them abroad also. So that's when our team gets into the entire zone. We start pitching them ideas. We start working towards it. We ask them what sort of budgets do they, do they want to get into? What sort of figures are they looking at, to do the entire wedding? And trust me, Indians don't tell anything in one go. You need to dig them again and again to really get a figure. But it's always like we're always pitching things on the higher end so that they at least take the things at the lower end. And then that's how the back and forth keeps on happening. But not everyone's like that. But yeah, most of the families that we're dealing with are pretty much on those lines. Then, so a 500 people wedding somewhere in India. If you guys have been to India, I'm sure you must have gone to Jaipur. So Jaipur is a very, very hot destination in India. It's a beautiful place, a lot of palatial properties, a lot of heritage connected to it, a lot of soul and vibe is there. So there are beautiful hotels there. So one or two hotels we work very, very closely with is a Fairmont or probably a JW Marriott, right? So we buy out the property. Generally, a buyout ranges from anywhere between $1 crore to $1.5 crore. If I convert this into dollars, then we're roughly talking about
around close to 1 million.
Yeah, close to $1 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little over $1 million actually.
Over 1 million.
1.5 million around.
Wow.
So yeah, that's
And
only
that is
for the hotel. That's only
for
for
the yeah.
that's only for the hotel.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Aunt Kit, is Amishi listening? You got to start saving early, right?
I think we have good dividend from IBM TV by that time, so we can have.
Now she's going to own IBM TV by that time, little Miss Ambassador.
Watch Sasha's show.
Right. So let's talk about this.
I think Ankit, we've messed up with the figure. $1 billion is a little more than what we're trying to tell them. No,
Okay.
Yeah.
No. So what I did is I did the logistics and the airfare as well, because 1 million is close to around 7 CR.
Yeah. So that's not right. Yeah, we've goofed up in the figure there.
Okay.
So, yeah. So it's almost it's around I'd say 150K.
150K. Okay, but that's what the big weddings here. Some of them average around a lot of the parents, always say, can we keep it around 20,000, 30,000?
Yeah,
which is still a lot of money. I mean, that's a deposit on a home.
But Kim, again, that is only for the hotel. That is only for the hotel.
That's just
that's just like that. Indian mentality is a little different. I'll tell you, Indian, a traditional working class family in India is earning for primarily 3 things in life. One is to get the daughter son married. Second is to get a beautiful house. Third is to make sure that their basics are always intact and are in place. So these are primary things that they're actually working towards. So a wedding in the family is like a celebration. It's a festival.
Yes.
And if it's not celebrated that way, you get a lot of there's a lot of bad words coming from the close family members that why didn't you do it?
Oh wow, it's like the Greeks.
Yeah, so a lot of
the same way, right?
It's not
I love the Greek weddings.
And Kim, I think Shrey shared it in a very polite way, but the problem or the happening is that we eat a lot of food at weddings in India. I mean, generally we attend on an average maybe around 50 weddings a year. Shrey may be attending more than 300 weddings a year. So if you are going to a wedding, you have to invite those people to our wedding as well.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Yeah, you got to invite everybody, right? So you can't leave anybody out. I mean that.
So we've done weddings where the guest list has been around 15,000 people also.
Wow!
So an average wedding in sorry what?
Like
Shrey, I just wanted to interrupt in between. So we are getting a message from one of the big parties in some country where there are elections coming up, and they wanted to host a political campaign during the wedding.
They need to get 15,000 people together somehow.
We tell them we can work around something for sure.
That's pretty smart.
Courtesy IBM TV.
There you go. That's pretty smart. We're going to hold a wedding and do a campaign. There you go. I like that idea. I'll tell you, a lot of people don't realize that your culture plays a huge element in how weddings are done. And it's very important to the girl, but it's also very important to the guy. I mean, a lot of people, they think the guy doesn't always play the big role in it, but it is. It is very, very big to the men as well. I've seen men who, where the wife, maybe it's their second, maybe this doesn't happen in India, but in the U.S. a lot.
No.
It's a second wedding, and they want a big wedding, Yeah.
So it's very different in India also now. It's as pure, as pious, as connected to a man also. And they take equal interest, and to make it evident, we actually dig in pretty hard to make sure that they're also taking in a lot of interest.
Yeah, good. No, they should, because there's a lot to it than just showing up, with your buddies and go, okay, we're having a big wedding. And again, that's why I want to experience one in India. I mean, because I've experienced so many different ones here. I will tell you my favorite wedding of all time. I learned the difference between cost, right? And my favorite wedding of all time. Now, I've been to Duke weddings, at the Duke chapels, and I've been weddings on the ranch, okay, where thousands of people show up and margarita machines plugged into the tree. Okay, I've been, I've seen a lot, but my favorite wedding was somebody I didn't even know, and I was asked to be a witness, and it was at the courthouse.
Wow.
It cost them $20 to get married. $20.
Okay.
Two people who were madly in love with each other, who didn't get to, they knew each other in many, many years, but bumped into each other later in life, decided after a year, let's get married, let's make this real. And I was there in court for something else, to help a victim of domestic violence. And I was sitting and waiting our turn. And she was sitting there. She goes, "You look like the only normal person here. Would you come be our witness?" We forgot our witness. I look like the normal person.
Yeah.
I was the crazy one. But I went into the courtroom, and in the courtroom there were, people clearing bad checks and people trying to get out of jail that had been there too long that shouldn't have been. And then the people get married, right? So when we get there, the judge says, how many people are here to get married? And of course, the people hands are raised. How many people are here to be witnesses? I raise my hand. And then he gets into, talking about, okay, does everyone have their $20? And so everybody's putting up their $20 to get married. And he goes, "Are there any questions?" And man, my hand went up really fast. And I go, "You guys have got a racket here." He goes, "What do you mean?" And I go, "It's only $20 to get married here. God love you. I think it's beautiful. We're marrying 20. But the hall across the hall there where people get divorced is $20,000. And I just got to know, did y'all plan it this way? And immediately, of course, they're sitting there going, "We got the crazy woman." But
Kimberly,
it was beautiful. I cried.
I attended a civil ceremony in France, because that actually more of the French weddings are civil ceremonies, and it was beautiful as well. And it was cheap. I can't do the translations into francs, but it wasn't that expensive a show. But everybody was showing up there, and they were all so happy, and the happiness radiated. And
that's why I cried.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
you won't believe. I mean,
right?
they would say that we have so much of drama in our Indian weddings as well.
Yeah. Indian weddings are a lot of drama.
No drama. There was absolutely no. My hair's not right. My flowers are messed up. The bees are in the flowers. Yeah, none of that. Absolutely.
It's not about hairs only.
We feel extremely weird if an Indian wedding happens without drama. We think that we've done something wrong. There's been no drama.
But you know what? It adds to the story, right? Because 20 years later, they're still going to be talking about that one incident. And that's what I told somebody one time who was having a little bit of a issue getting married. "Well, that's it. I'm done. We're not getting married." And I go, whoa, that's not why you don't get married. This is why you get married. And at the end of the day, you're going to talk about this 20 years from now, right? Yeah. The reason that you're getting married is up there at the altar. It's not what happened back here. And
Shrey, we've got it backwards in the United States, because we don't have any divorces without drama.
I think past few years the divorce drama has actually increased in our country also.
Really?
It wasn't like that earlier, but I think now I know that out of say about 50 weddings or 30 weddings that I would have done in last 3 years, 5-7 of them have gotten divorced.
Really?
So say a quick question: the people who get divorced, would they come back to you and say that return the money?
Yes, we've had those clients also. We've had those clients also.
He has a no refund clause.
Yeah.
But there's no refund. There's definitely no refund. We tell them that the next one is going to be cost effective. That's
cost effective. No guarantees or no refunds, right? No deposit, full deposit, no refund.
And I just got a message from South Africa, and he said that I'm still at 200,000. What about the other cost?
Oh, okay, all right. That person's still waiting. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. So we booked the hotel at say about 150 to 175K.
Wow.
Followed by now I think general weddings are you go to a hotel, You get a designer on board who does your decor and everything, and the food and everything is taken care by the hotel. So that's not how Indian weddings work. You have additions. So I will call a specialist of X food from X part of the country. Then next function there'll be another specialist coming from another part of the country. And we'll create small lounges where so if it's a 3-night wedding, so 3 night 4 days, 400 500 people are there. We create small lounges for elders, we create small lounges for youngsters. There is alcohol for youngsters in the lounges. There is tea, coffee, cookies, and quick bites for elders. And apart from that, at least, I would say per person, about 7 outfits per person is what we're looking at in a typical wedding.
Wow.
And for the bride and groom, it's roughly about 10 outfits. And same pretty much goes to the family. And we're talking about on probably the main evenings. So that's probably the second evening and the third evening. Second evening is called the Sangeet night. So the dinner menu ranges from anywhere between about 100 dishes to about 150 dishes. And the wedding day, it's more like 200 to 250 dishes. And there are other food additions also. So yeah, it's a massive affair. It's maddening. And then we're spending almost about $30,000 to $40,000 on entertainment. So every function has.
Is that live music? Is that
Yeah,
DJ?
so it's a mix and match of live music, interactive activities, DJs, sound systems, everything. So it's a mix and match of everything. And followed by I'm also talking about after parties here.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're essential. They're essential, Jim. You can't do without after parties. Yeah.
Gotta have that.
And so so every function, the entertainment is tailor-made. You get into the detail, you understand the theme, the vibe of the function, you suggest entertainment accordingly. Decor generally ranges from another $30,000 to about $40,000, depending on what sort of taste do they have. Not like you can't do a cheaper one, you can do a $10,000 decor also. But I'm talking about the kind of weddings that we generally enroll ourselves into. Apart from that, so the amount of customizations and bespoke features are insane. Everything can be customized. From customized uniforms of the people who are attending the guests, to customized collaterals in each rooms, to customized collaterals on tables for everybody. Personalized room kits, personalized hampers. There's a lot of detailing that gets into it. And then a lot of logistic support, a lot of there's a hospitality team of roughly 30-40 people additional that we hire to make sure that everyone gets personal attention.
Oh my gosh. It's a production.
Yes.
It's a production. It's a full-fledged production.
I mean, and you got to keep track and make sure nobody's feelings get hurt. You didn't forget somebody.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the biggest hue and cry. That's the biggest hue and cry.
Yes. That's the drama.
That's the drama. Yeah.
That is because somebody's always forgotten.
And how many cameras do you require to cover these weddings?
So on an average, I'll tell you the camera person, I'll just break it down for you. To execute a wedding of about 400 to 500 people, a 3-night affair, we require, say, about 3 to 4 traditional photographers, say about 4 candid photographers, 3 to 4 cinematographers, 2 people on Zoom. Not Zoom, actually, drone and Zoom now. Like I'm saying Zoom because now we've got into Zoom now.
Yeah.
So 2 people on drone and Zoom. And then we also have personalized features like personalized interviews. So we have a separate team who takes care of that. So roughly a team of about 12 to 15 people is required to cover one wedding.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Nick, are you listening to this? This is insane. Oh my gosh.
Well, I will tell you, I I hope Sasha will back me up on this, but the entertainment costs at chess weddings is less expensive.
Chess weddings. I like this. but okay, so that, I mean, 12 people. Francisco, do you hear that? Francisco is my favorite videographer in San Diego. That's insane.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of content. So did somebody pull it all together?
And Kim, to add on that, we have a post-wedding, pre-wedding shoots and all those things that I think.
So, I'll tell you the kind of things that we do, the crazy things that you might find bizarre at your end. So we definitely do pre-wedding shoots. We, where we do a small video of theirs, however they want. Then one crazy thing that we do is on the wedding day, we do a same day edit. So we show everyone things that have happened in last 2 days. It's all edited, complete, filed on the same day.
Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Wow, that's a TV production. That's a TV network production.
So there is a full-fledged back-end production that's always happening. And one more crazy thing that we now it's old for us, but probably new for someone in the world, probably. That is so we also do newspapers or probably news lines, so things that have happened in last 2-3 days, we put it all together in form of a newsletter or newspaper, and we give it to people so that while they go back to their home, they can watch everything and they can just reminisce it through, read it through, and just cherish the memories of last 2-3 days.
Wow, that's I don't know anybody who does that in the United States. So, and a crew like that, like, can we get an average of what that would cost? Just an idea.
So it's in multiple brackets, depending on the caliber that a person plus the brand that they've created for themselves. Starts from roughly it's about $8,000 can go up to $25,000-$30,000.
Wow, yeah, that sounds. And
Kim, and we can invite all the Bollywood celebrities to our wedding if you have that.
We've done that. We've probably invited all, and we've had some crazy experiences with them also. It's not only about inviting them; it's also about taking their tantrums, making sure that things are in place, last moment glitches, stuck in traffic. We've had incidents where we've got stuck in traffic. The MCs announce the name. Everyone's waiting for us on the stage, and literally the top Bollywood actors have to get on the streets, run to the venue, and everyone's watching them running on the streets.
Oh my gosh! Now they can just dial in on Zoom, and you have a big screen up there, right? Yeah. So now you have a big screen on stage.
Now, yeah.
They're stuck in traffic, so here they are now. But you know what? Now I know where Bollywood came from. The wedding. Okay, you can have a movie out of every wedding that you just did.
Sure. There is so much drama. There is so much humor. There's so much drama, and you can actually so I'll tell you where does the drama essentially comes from. It comes from the core family members.
Right.
It comes from brother-in-laws. It comes from sister-in-laws. It comes from elder brothers. It comes from younger sisters. They can throw a fit at any point in time. They don't need reasons. They can just do it.
Oh my gosh! So you know what? We could have a movie channel of just all the Indian movies ever made.
We already have one.
We could have a channel specifically, and we could start today and probably have 25,000 movies in a year.
You call it Survivor.
But Tim, I'll tell you, our Indian Bollywood movies, every third movie is about wedding.
I get it.
Or has a tenth of wedding.
Yeah, something like that.
I think that's what we had to do is we could just air every wedding. And, one of my favorite movies is My Big Fat Greek Wedding, right? Yeah. It is by far
Indian wedding. Yeah.
My Big Fat Indian. But we could just do consistent movies from India because you guys have the full production crew there.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
And you post-produce it. I mean, gosh, what a business that is. So how did you get into the wedding business?
Funny story, but truth be told, When I was in school, so I started working right after school.
Okay.
So when I was in school, I wanted to be a DJ. So I thought, the best way to test waters is to become a person who hires DJs, so that I understand that whether this association even makes sense for me or not, and even if I can earn the kind of money that I want to earn or not. And then that's where it started. I did my first event in 2008, and I realized that this is a lot of fun. There's a lot of hard work that's definitely a part of it, but then it's a lot of fun too. Uh, couldn't be a DJ, but in 6 months I realized it's better to be a event planner. And a few years later, I realized wedding planning is one non-recession, a recession-free business in the country. And it's a form of art. If you master the art, if it's a craft. If you the more you work towards it, the better the craft becomes.
And the more people come to rely on you. Do you have a website?
Yeah. Our website's called touchwood.in.
Ankit, can you pull it up? Do you have?
I can't pull it. I can pull because of my.
Can you text me? Can you text me the website so I spell it?
And I'll tell you one more very interesting fact about our company. In 2017, we became the first company to get listed on the stock exchange, and we're the only listed company in the country.
Wow.
Listed in terms of wedding industry?
Yeah. In the entire event space, there is no other company which is listed in the entire space.
Did you hear that, Sasha?
Yeah.
Yep. Very nice.
Got to do some research.
Are you giving a tip to all our panelists to buy shares of Touchwood?
Let's take a look.
I don't believe in that.
Okay.
Is this a chat bot?
Yeah. So this is not a chatbot. This, I think someone's pulled it off. So this is a new initiative that we started recently. It's called the school. So we started our own school, event management school. It's called Touchwood Wedding School.
That is awesome.
So you would go to school.
Sorry, what?
Nothing. So I clicked on it, but I'm gonna let it go to the school while I take a look at your site. Now look at this. I mean, this is to me a movie production, and this is
absolutely.
I mean, this is Hollywood to me. This is not the weddings I've seen on video here in the
I was happy with my wedding until I see this.
Well, let's take a look at what it takes to make something of this caliber. Look at this team, folks.
Oh my goodness! Yes,
this is the business, and I'm sure you got more than this.
Yeah. We've got a huge team. Yeah, but that's our founder. That's our founder director. That's the brain behind the company. He's the one why we got listed.
Awesome.
She's the creative head. And that's me, not so creative.
But you're on the top. You're on the top 5 listing, right? You're in the top of the company. Not many people.
Yeah, I'm one of the directors in the company.
Yeah, but many people get their picture on the top page of the company, right?
That's above the fold in the newspaper.
You worked very hard to make that happen. Look at your services. You have wedding management, design and decor, live events, destination weddings, entertainment, political activations. I have a feeling that's like political campaigns and events, corporate events, exhibits. Let's talk about exhibits.
I would like to fill in with another very interesting information. So, we also did the political activation for the president of Gabon. It was surprising for us that he called us all the way from India to Gabon to do his political activations. And we did it for about, 2 sessions of his.
Wow, that is very impressive.
Look at the investors. So, and again, they are very business oriented. This is just not a wedding planner.
Right. Shrey, is this industry recession proof? I mean, everybody's got to get married, but
yes, that's what we've always learned, and we've always experienced that. This is probably so COVID's the first time we've actually faced some sort of recession.
Yes.
COVID's the first time we've actually faced any sort of lull also. We've never faced it before.
Interesting. Because it would seem to me, just
So that's us.
I
Yeah,
see
it's like
that.
looking
Let me
in.
get back to that. I don't know how it changed on me, but check this out. How
Wow.
beautiful. How beautiful. Wow.
So
That's
the
it.
amount of
That's
awards
you,
we've
man.
won, we have a separate room in our office which is only dedicated to awards that we've won.
Oh my goodness.
Check.
That's better than my trophy room.
Okay. I'm jealous.
Me too. I don't have that many chess trophies, Kimberly.
This takes a lot of work, but it also means that you show up to everything there is
That's
to
right.
accept an award. You just don't sit there and wait for people to come give you awards. You have to be out there and you know.
It's a very dynamic company. We're a group of very, very dynamic people, very outgoing, very dynamic, and all of us are extremely hardworking.
Yes.
I mean, I think even during the days of lockdown, we all have been working for about 10 hours to 12 hours a day.
Good for you. Good for you. And
Well,
do you get overcommitted? Do you take on?
All the time?
Yeah. I would think that would be the number one danger, red flag for me, thinking about doing this, is that once you're successful, everybody wants you. And you can't spread yourself too thin. So how do you manage that?
So now, so that's how we don't take a lot of projects in one time. We make sure that there is there's no hassle when it comes to servicing a client happens. It has to be a great experience eventually. So we generally do about 30 weddings a year, not more than that. And to execute that, our team is pretty sorted. And of course, even then, there's a lot of overcommitment that goes into it, because every client, every person we're dealing with is different. Everyone expects in a different manner. And
Right.
since we consider ourselves amongst the expensive ones, the amount of commitment towards someone comes in a little more handy, because you have to be available almost at all hours.
Right.
So to take something international, like destination weddings, what?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I can't even fathom the thought of that. That has just got to be insane. That you have to know and understand the international laws of where you're going, making sure people have their passports, their credentials. I mean, does the whole team get involved with doing that?
No. In order to pull off a 400 people international wedding, 7 people together can pull this off. We don't need more than that.
Great.
Are 5 of them cameramen?
No. That's without all that. 7 people is the core team.
That's just the plan.
Yeah, the planning team. Yeah.
Then you pull together the rest of the people that work for you. I've seen big events like this, one where they host 50,000 to 1 million people, and there's only 4 people that manage the whole thing. That's not all the people that work in it, but it's only 4 people that manage the whole thing. And one of my favorite events, CES, which is 150,000 attendees every year, it's 4 people that manage the whole thing.
So even in a wedding, what you generally see one person as the face.
Right.
One person out of the core team or probably the top management will be there. Yeah, and you'll always see one person as the face.
Right.
Rest, everyone's just working as a back support.
And that's the way it should be. It's called the point of contact in the military bids. You always have that one face that everyone knows, right? And the team behind them. So you've been doing this for a long time now, right?
For a decade, yeah.
What kind of scalable model? I mean, you guys have scaled out a lot. What would be the next scalable model for a business like yours, especially if you're traded?
So we've gotten a lot into backward integration of our business. We've started our own. Generally we partner with people for various ancillaries as a part of our industry, right? So now we've ourselves started those ancillaries. So earlier we used to get a decor partner on board. Now we've got our own decor wing. Earlier we used to get a partner who used to suggest us entertainment. Now we have our own entertainment wing. So that's one way how we've tried to gain scalability. And these all these ancillaries also work as separate entities. So they work with us also, and they work on a B2B and a B2C model separately also.
So, like Marriott is a chain, right?
Yeah.
Have you all thought about becoming a chain in other countries?
So of course we want to become a chain, like but essentially what happens, weddings work very differently in every country.
Right.
How it works in India, it's going to be very different in some other part of the country, and it's a very it's a business of a lot of personal touch and emotions for everyone. No matter which country you go to, emotions and personal touch makes a difference everywhere. So as faces, we can't be present everywhere. So what we want to do in other countries, we definitely want to start chain, but of different services. In other countries, we would rather want to become destination management help, or probably something like a backend support to the business that's in alignment, in that country. Things like those is what we want to do. We want to backward integrate ourselves into in other countries. So these are some what you see here is a part of our extended company called Touchwood Exhibition.
It's a fabulous business to be in. To do exhibits like this is a lot of work. I mean, if you are a person who hires people who do exhibits for you, and you're putting together a booth, especially if you do some big booths, exhibit booths, it's a lot of engineering, and everything's got to be able to go up and break down in hours, right? And
And so the turnaround time is very, very short, very, very short.
And so you got to make something look fabulous, sellable, that's only going to be up for a day, sometimes 3 days, sometimes a week, right? Yeah. But all of the energy that goes into something like this, like these big hangers that are there, it's just, this is beautiful. What you do is very, very beautiful. Now, is this again just for exhibits in India, or do you branch out?
If someone, if the cost comes in alignment, we are ready to execute it anywhere in the world. But so far, it's been primarily in India, but we've done a couple of shows in UAE.
Right. It's just so amazing. Maybe we can get you to help us pull together. One day we'll go to CES in our own booth, and you can help us do that, engineer it.
100%.
So, how beautiful is this? I mean, it's kind of, I mean, I know that's a lot of work, but I think it's kind of fun to engineer what looks like, a stage or an office space, or, that sells the company, and it's here and gone in a weekend, right?
Yeah, correct.
It's like virtual reality, but it's reality. It's very tangible. It's very physical. But no, it's amazing. What are some of the things that you said that you when you left school? I take it. Did you go to like a college or a university?
Yeah, I did go to college for 2 years. Indian colleges are only for 3 years. I did go to college for 2 years. Realized that I can do much better without the college, and then I dropped out.
So I want to tell you a secret I've learned, because I got the privilege or the honor to interview some of the world's leading millionaires and billionaires on exclusive interviews. And the secret is a lot of them didn't finish universities either. So they all had that same itch. Oh, I learned enough. And Henning Morales, I love Henning Morales. He was a high school dropout and a law school dropout. So, and he's going to be on our show today, I hope.
And also a sports dropout as well, because he was playing sport before he joined the movies.
Well, that was forced upon him. He got injured, I think. And, but he dropped out of high school because he was too smart for high school, and he got that itch, right? I've learned enough. I need to apply it. And then he went to law school, and he got that itch again. He goes, but he learned enough to get him through what he needed to do. And that's the secret, people, is not every, I always say a degree is your key, right? To it's your best intellectual property to get that piece of paper. But so many people, if you just get that knowledge base and you execute it, that's just as important. right, is taking that knowledge and executing. That's a beautiful story. I love it. I love it. And doing the productions that you're doing, I'm so excited about it. And Kit, we're going to plan a wedding. We're going to go to a wedding. So when this is over. So a question that Jim kind of and everyone played on is, how has the COVID impacted you? Are you recession proof? You've apparently pivoted hard during this time. What are some changes that you're foreseeing for the future?
In fact, there are a lot of changes that we are foreseeing for the future. So I'll just give you an example. What happened today? Things have become a little better here in the sense that there has been some movement in the wedding space, which was a zero movement in last 3 months. Sorry. So now today I saw a movement. I met a client after probably 3 months today. There are a lot of restrictions. We can't do an event which exceeds 50 packs size, and we can't have alcohol in the function. We can't have add-ons in the function. We have to restrict to what the hotels are giving us. We have to restrict in terms of the kind of setups that we can do. So, and I think the same system is going to prevail till the time we don't have a vaccine in place. Because the kind of fear psychosis that's a part of the system at the moment is too tough to decipher and too tough to fathom also. We are very unsure of what lies ahead in terms of numbers or the scalability, but we sure are aware of the fact that if it keeps on going at the same pace and the same scale, then a lot of people might not be able to sustain for more than 6 months.
Right. And I think you're right. I think we need to just take it one step at a time. And because this is what I tell people, and this is one of the conversations we've had, is that we have survived many deadly viruses for thousands of years. You know, we started out with plagues, and we learned to live among them, right? Once we get past the fear, what they are, and understand how to treat them, we learn to move on. And, you know, HIV was no different. Right? It's very deadly disease, just like this can be. But once we figured out how to stop the spread, how to treat it, and how to isolate it, just like anything else, we've moved on with life. And I think once we learn to live among this one, we will do the same thing. This is probably the first one that's hit the whole world.
Yeah, for sure.
That it has. And I think this is an awakening for all of us to say, hey, there's more to come. But if we just learn to say, okay, this is how we deal with these types of situations, our fatality rates will be reduced, and we move forward. I'm not going to count on a vaccine. It's too soon. You know, we're rushing for something that we don't need to rush for. What we need to do is be smart and figure it out like we've done all the others, right? Some of the plagues that have existed for thousands of years, how did the people get past it, right? They isolated. They moved people over here until they were past that plague, right? The same with malaria. The minute there's a malaria flare-up, which we still have malaria. We still have it. But they watch it, they isolate it, they contain it, they treat it. All right? So the flu, come on, people. We got vaccines, but not for every flu that exists, right?
That's right. But, you know, I think this one's a little different because, as you rightly said, this is the only one that has struck the world.
Yes,
you know, this is the first time ever, technically, you connect with anyone across the world. The first question you're asking them, are you doing well? Is everyone in your house safe? I hope everything's fine with you. This has never happened in the past.
No, it hasn't.
Wherever you call anyone in the world, you've never inquired the same question to everyone. Second, right. the kind of fear this has incorporated in public, the kind of fear it has led to, that's the most difficult part to combat with. You know, we can be smart. We can we can isolate ourselves. We can definitely use all the precautions around us. We can be as attentive towards it as possible. We can follow as much cleanliness as possible. But at the end of the day, how can we combat with the mental fear? If today, if someone's inviting me to a function today and I do not know more than 5 people, in that circle, I would not want to go. I would rather want to stay back at home, not be a part of that system.
And it doesn't mean that you have fear of doing and living life. It means that you want to live, right? And you're just using the data and knowledge that you have to sustain that dream that you have. And none of us want to end up catching it and end up with some of the fatal ending stories that have occurred. But leprosy, to me, that always comes to mind, right? What a horrific disease, right?
Yeah.
One of the first recorded, besides the bubonic plague, right, which was another one. But we never found cures for these. What we found was a means of acceptance, that we know that there's going to be some people that get it. We know how to treat it when they do, and we know how to isolate certain situations. AIDS was the same way. We had a person who was part of the first wave of AIDS many years ago. So, and she's a survivor herself because she accidentally came into contact with it. So we have to first get past the misconceptions and representations of what it is. We have to home in on the data, like the doctors who've been on our show, and then we can get back to,
the normal life.
Some normal that we can feel like that,
or probably the new normal life.
and I think that we can even get back to some of what we used to have, right? I just think that we just have to understand more. We have to be more aware. What made this so dangerous was the fact that people can be contagious carrying it for 14 days before they have a symptom. That's what made this dangerous. It wasn't the fact that it could kill a lot of people, right? If they have a low compromised immune system, and we're still trying to understand why children are dying from it. But it's the fact that you can be contagious for so long and not know you have, and that once we curve that ball a little bit and we're able to test to know, maybe like we test for diabetes, then maybe we'll get back to a comfort zone again. But meanwhile, we got to figure out how to do some fun gathering weddings, right?
We're definitely on it, and we are leaving no stone. We're going all out. We're making sure that people have fun. We're making sure that no celebration should stop now.
Right. I mean,
one of our viewers would like to know that what kind of wedding gifts you suggest to the bride and grooms.
Oh, yeah, that's a good present. What's a good wedding gift?
So now, at these moments, in these times, you can definitely gift a PPE kit to the bride and the groom. Most handy, most useful. But apart from that, that's on a lighter note, by the way. So
I like that.
Well, it's always useful.
Yeah. On a serious note, I will say that you can always understand what the bride and groom is all about. What do they really like? And if they are fun, then you can actually try to dig in their personal life and then try to connect what they really like and what would they really want at this point in time. Then you can gift them that. We're not technically gift suggestive people for bride and groom. We are more of the gift suggestive people for the people who are attending the wedding.
No.
So what kind of return gift do you suggest for the people who attend the weddings? And what about the wedding cards?
Oh, the invitations. Wow, yeah.
Now, wedding invitations is again a big business in the country. It's huge. It's humongous. We've done cards that cost about $600, $700 also, and we've done say about 200, 300 cards for the invitees. Now, you know what? Okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I think wedding cards now, the trends have changed. A lot of people are sticking to e-invites, soft copies these days, but a lot of people are still into hard invites. And it's generally, the kind of range that you get in India is huge. Starts from roughly $1, can go up to $1,000, whatever you want.
And when we talk about gift, it starts from a champagne bottle to vodka bottle. Is that
those are the most useful ones, to be honest. because you are sure that they'll be used sometime in their life. Wherein, if we talk about, so the most common gifts that people give these days are edibles. And since everyone's, moving towards a good life and healthy life, so a lot of healthy edibles are being suggested to people. Something that people are, can consume easily.
That's
And
awesome.
also, Kim, to add on that, there is a pass which will allow you to be a part of the wedding, because a lot of gate crashers also comes and joins you. And also, there's a separate driver pass and a driver chauffeur car as well, sometimes for some guests. So it's more about customization and how you can customize and make them more personalized invite and things like that.
So when you're doing a wedding in India, it's not only the guests who are your guests, it's even their maids and servants and drivers who are also your guests. You need to take care of all of them also.
Wow. Wow. So you know what? That's a lot just for a ticket or a pass. Maybe you need a chip band, right? A band with a chip in it, a microchip.
RFID.
Yeah, RFID. Do you ever lose any guest at these events? Have you ever lost a guest?
Yeah. So we've lost guests, but that's been in a different way. Like they've got so drunk that they've locked themselves in the loo.
Hangover.
That sounds familiar.
I'll tell you one very funny incident. So there was a checkout of the entire family that was happening. The wedding happened very well. Everything happened extremely well. The family was very happy. They all had their lunch and they were all leaving from the hotel. So, there were 7-8 cars. They were all accommodating themselves in each car, And then they all left, and I was in the hotel because I was closing the bills and everything, right? So I saw the groom there, and it's like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "My entire family's here." I was like, "No, they've gone." They're like, "What are you saying?" So he called up his family. He's like, "Where are you guys?" All of them said that they've left, and he's like, "I'm still here, and you've left."
Where's the bride?
So basically, bride was with his sisters. Yeah, so they all accommodated in different cars. So they thought he must be in one of the cars, but he'd gone to the loo.
And he was left behind. Oh my gosh.
And Kim, to add on Shrey's story, what happened is that in India we have weddings, like 3 weddings in one ground. Okay, so I have to attend wedding A, but because I am drunk and I don't know, I went to wedding C. I eat all the food, and then I was looking for people. Because I don't know anyone in wedding C. Then I called them. They said, "We have to come to wedding A."
I've done that to events before.
And I'll tell you one very interesting fact. How Indian mentality works. So Indian weddings are generally, they happen on auspicious dates. They are set dates and they happen on auspicious days. And some dates are very, very auspicious. So there are dates when 30,000-40,000 weddings happen in one city in one go, and one person has multiple invitations.
Wow.
So multiple invitation means multiple gifts also. You have to give something at each and every wedding. So now for a lot of people, the size of the gift totally depends. So in India, gifts are generally cash. You hand over cash to the bride's father or the groom's father. So in every wedding, the kind of experience that you get in terms of food, entertainment, and all, the size of the gift totally depends on that. So if the person has a great experience, he's going to give a great gift or a great amount. There have been times when a person hasn't enjoyed and he hasn't even gifted.
Wow.
Wow.
He's just left the wedding.
Well, I'd like to ask Lynn, is this giving you more motivation to get the Family Dollar store into India?
I definitely.
We can get gifts from the Family Dollar store, but
there you go.
I
new opportunity.
I will say this: the way I met Henning was I went to the wrong event.
Oh.
So that's how I met Henning. I just happened to get the events confused, right? So
that's karma.
You never know who you're going to meet, right? So,
yeah, but it sounds like what Shrey
was better with Henning than it was at the other one. So I accidentally went to the wrong event, but the food was better. That's why you're going to find me at the wrong event usually. I did that.
The
That's
food.
That's how I meet the really cool people, though. Like when I was with Nick at the PBS event, so it was a huge convention for public broadcasting stations, right? And so we're there. Well, I found out that the owners had a better breakfast.
So she can get invited to wedding A, but go to wedding C for the
breakfast. I didn't make like I was supposed to be upstairs at the other breakfast or anything. I just put on a suit. Nick goes, "Where are you going?" I'm gonna go have breakfast. But I'm going to have breakfast. So I put on a business suit. And
I think she needs to leave.
She needs to leave. Okay.
Thank you so much.
What a story! I'm so proud of you.
Love it.
Sorry?
I thank you for sharing your story. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I can't wait to meet you in person and we have a big wedding.
Yeah.
Same here. Totally.
So
Thank you. And we would like to host you again, and we would like to have a wedding show going on IBM TV. So if you are interested, host and
That'd be a good thing. Yeah.
Of course, we'll do it. Thank you so much.
Thank
It
you.
was It's kind of you.
Thank you. And play the wedding movies. I want the wedding movies.
I presume that's a brother, Ankit?
He's my cousin.
Or he's your cousin? Your cousin. So he told his version. It was a wedding version of Home Alone. If you remember the movie, Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
So there it was. It was the Indian version of Home Alone. The groom was
Home Alone.
Here's everybody.
I love that. I love that.
We have a lot of movies on weddings and Home Alone in India. And when you talk about wedding, every third movie is something related to wedding. So people talk about weddings, and because a father, especially a groom's father or a bride father, they cherish that wedding and they wait for that moment, because that moment they can serve, they can invite, and they can invite people to eat and greet, basically. Because in India, I mean, generally on your lifetime, you attend around 20 to 40 or maybe 50 weddings a year. So now if you are 40 years old, so you have been attending too many weddings. So now you have to also invite them as a token of appreciation, or as your duty, because you have been to so many weddings. Now it's your turn.
Yes.
That's a half a year's worth of just going to parties and weddings.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
When there's a wedding in the season, so Kim, you won't believe we are 4 or 5 people in the house. Sometimes we have 4 invitations, so everyone is going to a different direction. and also,
okay, you take this wedding. No. That's
funny.
I'm going to that one.
And I'll tell you what happened basically. So some of the weddings are in farmhouses, so they are right outside the city. So now there's a big traffic jam of 3 hours. So you have to reach to that wedding at 9 o'clock. You are reaching at 12.
Wow.
Yes.
And sometimes when you reach, food is done.
Oh no! Kimberly's whole reason for going.
You got to make sure you leave at least 2 hours early, because traffic can be really bad. And
we ended up
there.
We ended up in Dallas at a wedding, and I know Dallas pretty well. So we get on a bus to go to the church, and the bus is heading south towards downtown on the Dallas North Parkway, and I knew that the church was east. And I kept saying to a guy from California who's a business partner of the father of the bride, I kept saying to him, "Jerry, we're going the wrong way." And I walked up to the bus driver and says, "No, we're going to the right way." Well, we ended up at the Jewish synagogue for a Methodist wedding, and
a lot of people, right?
And there were other people showing up for a wedding, so we could have done what Ankit is talking about. We just could have shown up at a different wedding.
There you go. And just had a big event. I know we had a family ranch out in the middle of Kerrville, Texas, in southwest of Houston area.
Right.
And so thousands of people show up, and it never rains.
Mm-hmm.
Never rains. And the one family's from New Jersey, of course. Kind of weird to get them into the ranch, and then the groom's families from the ranch. This is their ranch, and it's all exciting. And wow, this is amazing. Margaritas are plugged into the tree. I don't know how they did that, but margarita machines are just being pumped out everywhere. It's great. It's beautiful. And all of a sudden, the biggest downpour in the history of
Kerrville. Right.
The biggest downpour. And there's no means, because at the time, the family was still renovating the ranch, and we didn't really have the big hall to hold all the people that came. Generally that ranch, their ranch, but they had the bands, they had a big place for, because they have tennis courts there and everything. So they had a place for the bands and everything. So we literally moved the whole wedding, cakes and all. Now they had a cake of the shape of Texas and the shape of New Jersey with the Golden Gate, because they actually met in San Francisco. And I thought that was beautiful, but we literally moved the whole wedding to a ranch down the street that had a big hall.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But, it was, but things like that happen in weddings. I can't imagine being in the room though.
Never know what.
I'll tell you what happened during the big weddings in India. There are a lot of weddings which are open. So you can see the sky. There is no shelter, no covering like that, and suddenly rain can happen. So we have a backup that how we can cover up that. But some people, they don't have a backup, so they just, just look for a place. Everyone is looking for a place, and people are holding something so that because a lot of makeups and a lot of decorations going around. But on the other hand, now we have a waterproof stage, a waterproof tent, and a waterproof, what you can say, a complete wedding area where no matter how much big is the rain, you are safe, and the wedding will still continue.
Well, that's cool. And a lot of people think of that. We just never would have thought it would rain on the ranch. It didn't rain for 10 years. We have a river there. It didn't rain for 10 years. And it rains, like not just a little rain either. We're talking, it'll blow over. Mm-mm. But I think you're right, though. I think a good tent of some kind, coverage and things like that is always.
But I think there are a lot of funny things happen in the wedding. So suppose you are hosting a wedding for your son, okay, and someone arrives which you don't know. So you'll ask, who are you? He said, I'm from son's side. I'm from the groom side. He said, groom side, I'm groom's mother. Who are you? We in fact don't know who is that person.
But they still stay?
Yeah, because you can see that it's invited and they have that gift, which is right on the top pocket.
They always have a gift, right? They have a gift. If they have a gift, you can't turn them away, right?
That's right.
I've seen a lot of things like that in my lifetime when the weddings are just humongous, right? That can happen. I think an RFID chip would be a good idea for the big weddings, right?
Yeah.
You can just roam from bar to bar and take up the whole city, right? And have a big party. But after a while, it probably doesn't matter when you've got that many people. What does it matter, right? It's just like, that's like a big convention at that point. But
so a lot of people, what they do is they just dress smartly and they just attend any wedding which looks good, basically, and they just have that gift on top of that, pocket, and then they just have all the food in the wedding, and they enjoy it like anything. Because if you are attending a wedding, you have a good time. But if it's your wedding or if it's your family member's wedding, there's a lot of stuff to be done.
Well, what's interesting to me is that in a wedding, the bride and groom are the celebrity, right? And that's what we're talking about today, is celebrities. But the bride and groom are celebrities. And one of the coolest things too, I'm going to see if I can get these guys on. It's probably hard to do, but Maroon 5. And they had a video that they did. I don't know if anyone watched this, but it was the coolest video to their song called Sugar. And they decided, let's see how many weddings we can hit in California, from the bottom coast, driving all the way up in one day or one weekend or whatever. And they literally went to every wedding that they could line up and popped in, party crashed on them. The bride and groom didn't know that they were showing up. And they would dive in and open up and sing a wedding song to them.
That's funny.
That's
And-
awesome.
But it was like the whole crowd was shocked. So somebody
Yeah.
had to know to let them in, right? But like you were saying, wow, they're here with a gift. It's Maroon 5. Are you going to tell them no? So but they did. They went and they party or wedding crashed all of these weddings up the whole coast of California, and it's one of my favorite videos.
Well,
But
I have a wedding story, and I think only Lynn will really appreciate this. During our reception, at my wedding, my wife's and I wedding, my father-in-law is a big Stanford football fan, and all his friends were gathered around a smuggled-in TV set. So they're all watching the TV game because Stanford was playing Notre Dame. So this is a big game, and so we're starting to cut the wedding cake, and they come over and they say, Andy, they're cutting the cake. And he didn't take his eyes off the screen, and he said, "Oh, I can see that anytime."
because they're filming the oh my gosh. Oh
Yeah.
Stanford beat Notre Dame every time.
So during Super Bowl II, the day of Super Bowl II, we were at a wedding in North Jersey. It was a Catholic wedding, and the priest was into football. So he,
the game.
yeah, so he came out and he got on the chancel, and he's talking to the bride and groom, and he said, "We're here today to marry the Raiders and the Packers."
Priceless.
So, yeah, that's a true story,
And it was probably true.
and it was. I was in the wedding party, so
You got to hear it for yourself.
Oh, absolutely. So
yeah.
But I one thing I did see, and I've only ever seen it once in all the weddings I've been to, was what you said, Kimberly, about the bride and groom being the focal point of the wedding. Most of the time, when you look you're in the congregation, you see the bride and groom with their backs to you. Okay, you're looking at the minister or the priest or whomever. I went to a wedding in Chicago, again another Catholic wedding, and the head of Notre Dame, his name was Monk Malloy. He was Father Malloy did the wedding, and when he was bringing the bride and groom out, he put the bride and groom facing the audience. He stepped down and he said, "This is not about me, the priest. This is about the bride and groom." It's the only time I've ever seen it, and he did all of the whole service with his back to the congregation who was there. And that was a wonderful service. I spent a lot of time, I'm not Catholic, but I spent a lot of time talking to him. And he was a absolutely fantastic person. So what an opportunity to meet somebody like that.
The Catholics have a lot of priests that became part of a new movement, right? And they were willing to make changes to build trust amongst the community. And a lot of those actually, and you probably might be able to go back and discover that he was probably part of one of the monk organizations.
Well, he called himself monk. They called him monk.
Yeah, he was a monk. I knew it.
Yeah, but he had been a basketball player, and then when he became a priest, he played for Notre Dame when he went to school there, and then when he became a priest, okay, he actually did a number of classes, taught a number of classes, but he would at 11 o'clock at night announce that he was going to the basketball court, and whoever wanted to join him did, and they would play basketball until 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning, and then everybody would go back, and for some reason all the kids just kept calling him Monk, and that was how he got the name. I don't think it was because of any particular order that he was in. It was
might have been part of the monk order.
He might have been.
He might have, because the monks had a very youthful attitude. If you've ever worked with the monks, and I mean, I grew up in the Catholic under the Catholic realm, I guess. I don't know what you would call it, but the monks were very popular to the young people, and
Yeah.
they were willing to make changes that a lot of times the priests were not able to do.
Yeah.
And, but beautiful, and I love the monk spirit. They,
Yeah.
in fact, anytime I went to a church and I really stayed to that church, it was usually because a monk ran it. So,
Interesting.
they had gardens. They had they were different. They were just a different mindset. So
Interesting. So I have a hard stop today, as Aunt Kit knows.
okay, let's talk about some fun things about gifts. If you got a wedding coming up, folks, one of the reasons why we are so thankful for Lynn is that they have a big heart and they donate to our financial literacy projects and programs, which are growing. And what we need from the people is to be smart and shop at the dollar store, because that's all about financial fitness. In my journey in financial fitness with Nick to close that gap between poverty and sustainability, I learned it's not about the money you make, right? It's about what you do with the money, how you manage it. It's about how you spend it, how you save it, how you invest it, which is very, very important, in which we're starting shows about how you can better invest and look and invest. It's also about your taxes. Don't forget your taxes, people.
Right.
And most important, paying forward, right? How do we invest back into our communities and give back? And these are the 5 most important elements of managing your money. Now, Lynn believes in this. This is why we connected. We are all like minds when it comes to things like this. But Lynn had started a family dollar store online, and we launched it with us online at the same time that COVID kind of started. And we thought this would be a great way that people could be smart about their money. It's always smarter to buy something that costs less, right? I can get a lot of the cosmetics that I buy over the cosmetic counter somewhere for a fraction of the cost. Some of it may cost me $60. The same bottle, same size, everything $2. If I spend $25 worth of shopping at the Family Dollar store, I get my shipping for free, and there's bonus dollars that I can turn around and buy things again. So it just makes logical sense. I don't have to go anywhere. I'm not spending gas. And to top it off, I'm not putting myself in danger or other people at risk during COVID lockdown. I'm getting all of my favorite things from the Family Dollar store online. It's delivered to my door. It's a safer way to shop nowadays. And they have 4,000 items, people, 4,000.
Minion napkins.
They
What
got
can
the
I
minion
say?
napkins. I mean, if I could pull it up right now, my problem is something happened and everything disappeared.
Well, I'll just help you out. Here's
Okay.
here's an extreme
I'm
pack.
giving
Jim is going to put it on. If he's involved with Sasha today, he's going to put it on his head because he may be playing chess with Sasha. So he needs something to
And do it before.
it's
a
a preventative to relieve the pain. But here's something I learned yesterday, Kimberly. If you can, and I did this, so you may not have noticed it. If you haven't read your email yet, I sent you some rewards to be able to give to people.
Thank you.
And all they have to do is sign up to become a customer, and you can give them rewards. They'll get rewards, but you can give them. So, Jim, I'm going to be sending them to you as well. You can send them out, but you got to make sure that the people that you send them to sign up to become a customer first.
Absolutely.
So it's like giving them a gift card to basically shop at the store. And I have the ability, and this is something new, but I have the ability now to give out some basically rewards to people as gifts to be able to get them to come shop at the store. So here we are. We have lots of stuff. We have Kimberly's figured out how to get her computer working. We have CBD. We have we have over 4,000 products. So what can I say?
And we all know that I love Minions, and I'm not going to risk anything right now going to the Minion page. But check this out. I mean, you cannot beat any kind of pain relief patches. I like them because you can direct locate them to where the pain is. They work. They're not invasive.
Right here.
So it's not like you're taking a drug and it goes into your stomach and then it goes through your system.
It's awesome too.
Right.
Localized pain. My right hip backs up.
There you go. Yep. Or when you're playing chess with Sasha, you got to put it right here.
Yeah, or when you're moving the pieces, because chess pieces can be awfully heavy. You just put it on. You put it on your wrist so that you're not injuring yourself when you're moving those heavy chess pieces.
And Lynn, I don't know if you're aware of this, but we're celebrating 100 days of doing the show.
Fantastic.
So we'll give away some definitely some rewards today if anyone reaches out to us. Actually, somebody did reach out and give us a number. I'll find out where they live and we'll give out some free shopping awards to them. But yeah, we've done 25,000 minutes of.
Oh wow! I didn't see that. I saw it came up before, but I didn't read it. So congratulations.
Thank you. 25,000 recorded minutes.
Thank you to Lynn as well. In those 25,000, a lot of minutes Lynn has also spent on IBM TV. So thank you to Lynn.
Well, I just am thrilled that you invite me to come on. I've gotten a chance to meet some wonderful people, and we love the mission. We want to support the mission, and so we just encourage people, become a customer. And if we find out you become a customer through IBM TV, we will send you some extra rewards as our gift to you for signing up. And it's like sending you a gift card. So please sign up.
It's a gift card so that you can start shopping and buy yourself some gifts. And when you spend $25, it's going to help you get to that $25 mode faster. But there's beauty aids, there's CBD supplements. The dollar store is one of few stores who can actually accept payments without being canceled for CBD products. They figured out the secret to this. There's nothing illegal about it, and they can ship it to your home. So again, there's so many different things you can do. It's, during this time that we're really not supposed to be gathered together. If you know somebody who's having a baby and you can't have a baby shower, buy $25 worth of baby products or send them, tell me about it and I'll send you a card that you can send to add to it. But what a great gift to receive a package at your door with all of these name brand baby products, right? Pampers, Johnson & Johnson. And again,
I have to run.
Okay, thank you, Lynn.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yep.
But again, people, this is the smart way to spend your money and your time. Time is money. And definitely an Enkit in my life. Anything we can do to save time. I feel like some days I'm rushing to get things done. And that's when you got to sit back and reevaluate what you're doing so that you don't lose focus of what you need to do to become sustainable and comfortable. Sometimes it's not all about everything that's out there and you don't want to miss anything. You got to be careful. And because if you're not careful, you're going to be working on too many different things and you're not able to focus in on what's important. And in wedding productions, you heard him say this, we have all of these things going on and all of these ideas. We have to narrow it down to what's going to benefit the family the most for their money. You have to do that in your life, right? You have to do that in business. You have to do that when you play chess. There's just many things that you have to put into thought. Ankit is always working. People don't know this, but we actually edit the shows as we do them. Yeah. And which is a phenomenal jump ahead, a leap ahead in technology today. Years ago, we'd have to wait until we filmed everything to edit it.
25,000 recorded minutes blows my mind, but you guys have been doing a lot of work beyond those that are recorded. Yes. And to make that happen, that's a lot of work. So
it is a lot of sleepless hours. because we try to be available too. And sometimes I miss these meetings because I confuse the hours. We try to be available at other people's time zones. And occasionally I'll miss the 4 a.m. thinking it's 4 p.m. So, I know I feel bad because they're, I want to accommodate other people's time zones too. So we have a celebrity, our next celebrity. We all know him, love him, Henning Morales. And
oh my goodness.
Namaste. Hello. How are you
Morning,
doing?
how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you all doing today? Today's a beautiful day.
Henning, your ears must have been burning because Kimberly was talking about you. She was talking about how she met you. And it was like you can believe in coincidence or you can believe in karma. And it's I don't think there's any doubt that you two were going to meet.
Well, Kimberly was kind of a wandering soul at the Sundance Film Festival, and when these wandering souls, enter my periphery, I like the antenna. I go up and I said, "Let's talk." Right? So she came and we adopted her. Our group. We had about 40 or 50 people out there. It was nuts.
Let's take this poor soul in.
Yes.
Wow, I was lost because I'd never been to the film festival. So it is way different. If you've ever been to South by Southwest or CES, right? Those are huge events, but for some reason I can function in them. But the film festival is like a whole town, right?
Yes.
And even though CES is all of Vegas, it's different. It's very, very different. You almost have to be born there to, or in the industry. And I was not in the industry other than media. To really understand, but these guys had it down to a science. They were a big family. They worked together. A lot of fun to hang out with, and the best food. This is what I told them. We were talking about weddings, right? And how sometimes have you ever gone by accident to the wrong wedding? And it's not by accident for me. I go to the ones with the best food.
I've never by accident gone in the wrong wedding. That sounds like a whole nother story.
Well, we're talking about wedding production. We had a wedding planner, and I said, well, doing a wedding plan is like production of a movie. Really, it is, right? You got to get all the people right. You got your star, right? Yeah. You got your story that you're kind of pulling together. And then and he was telling me they have 15 cameramen at some of these weddings. So it's like a movie. So your movie last week, Henning, that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Last Wednesday.
What did I show? Oh, yes. That was Destinova. Yes. Thank you for recognizing that. That was cool. That was really
cool. Thank you for inviting me. That was a lot of fun popcorn time.
What did you get at? What was your favorite moment? We didn't get your take.
Well, because I had to leave. I stayed until about probably 10:30, 11 o'clock when it was over. And I wanted to listen to some of the views. I loved the red lips.
Okay.
I loved that. Everything about the whole movie took me back to the 80s. Your mentioning of the Tom Cruise movie. I'm sure you guys were all out. I mean, movie instead of doing your job, right? We got a job to do. We have a mission to do here. But remembering a moment like that, because that was a great movie.
Well, Kimberly, you mentioned in COVID, women are buying more red lipstick, and I couldn't understand that. What do you have an idea, a theory of why that is?
So it was told to me by a doctor. Dr. Tula said that he had learned that when the economics go down, the Dow goes down, the red lipstick sales go up.
That's amazing.
And he's never understood that himself, but that's what he learned. And he said that he sees it all the time, that the red lipstick sales go up when the Dow goes down.
So there's something about red lips.
Well, okay. So it's a cheap way to brighten your face.
Oh.
Well, we had this idea with Laurie, who plays. We basically have Laurie narrating part of the story, and the character Laurie. All of these people are real people. Any character in this is based on somebody real, and a lot of the characters are based on my high school friends. And we kind of have this, we kind of have this group of friends that all these extraordinary stories come out of this group. And Laurie's story is a story that we tell in a future movie. And that movie is called Metal Crush. And that's the movie that we are currently developing, and we hope to be shooting before the end of the year here. And I thought it would be very interesting to have Laurie, who appears in the previous installments, minor capacities. But I thought it would be really cool if we had a character from that's really showcased in a future movie, telling the story of a previous installment, and then at the same time we do it in a mysterious fashion, and we just show her mouth telling the story.
I love it.
And we got that as pretty much as an homage to Rocky Horror, which was the ultimate teen movie of the 1970s. That was the
going on midnight everywhere.
Midnight on Saturday night. That's, if you were a cool kid, that's where you went when I was a little kid. And so we created this Laurie Lips character, we call it. And we just did some interesting things with the filming of it and the coloring of it. And then when we opened the movie, we said, and coincidentally, and this is where, again, things just kind of come together. One of the stars of our movie, Kimberly, whom you met on set, is Gianluca Gibbons. And Gianluca is a phenom music artist. He writes, he performs, he preaches. He's a minister's son. And I met him at a screening, and he walked in with his flip-flops and his big sunglasses and his big afro. And he gave a testimonial after them. I thought, this kid is like, I didn't know him from anywhere. He just walked in. I thought it was off the street. I didn't know if he was invited or not. And then afterwards, he gave a very poignant testimonial about how much he loved the movie. And we put that testimonial in our promotional materials for the movie. I'm talking about Romancery was the screening that we did. Yeah. And then I said, well, we got to know each other, and I realized how talented this kid was, just like a phenom actor and musician. And I offered him a small role in Rebelistic. And then the role was to do a motivational speaker character. And his speech is epic. We do it in the old university church at USC, and it just has this really spiritual feeling to it. And he did such a great job doing the speech that we put him in a couple other scenes, and now he became an important character in Rebelistic. And then when we did Destinova, I invited him back, and I asked him if he would come back, and he did. So now he's in multiple movies. And I was looking for songs for the day after we came up with this idea for the Rocky Horror idea. I was looking for a song, an opening song that could go with this movie. And I was just looking at his profile for some reason, and there was a song called Red Lips that he had written, and I listened to it, and my mind I just went, and I called him and I said, hey man, can we use this as our opening song? He said, sure. We put it in, and then, so it all was very magical and very synchronistic and serendipitous, if you will. And so that's how we opened the movie. And then we had to reshoot. This is, again, I know there's a long answer to it. It wasn't even a question. I just wanted to tell you. But it was just, it's amazing how these things work. So when it comes time to do this final version of Destinova, we had recorded the Red Lips in black and white, and a lot of this is why you screen movies. A lot of the feedback that we got was that people wanted to see the red lips. We did it in black and white. Why did you do it in black and white if the song says red lips? And I thought it's kind of ironic. Let's have a song about red lips and not show the red lips ever. And people didn't like that. Once in a while, it's thumbs down, right? That's a bad idea. But sometimes these ideas work. And so then we got to reshoot. We have to reshoot the lips, because we shot it in black and white. We've got to shoot it in color, and we've got to really, when you shoot in black and white, you can kind of hide the blemishes a little bit. When you shoot in full color, you got to really get it right. And so you have to really, it took half a day to shoot that one thing, because you have to get right in close. You have to, I mean, literally the camera is right on her face. And then, but we couldn't use the same actress because she wasn't available, and it was the middle of COVID. And it was like, how do we, and we had just wrapped Street Chase. And I said, man, and Gabbia plays Laurie in Street Chase. So I said, let's see if Gabbia can do it. And she agreed. And so now we had kind of a dilemma, because I wanted to pull out on I wanted to give her an epic speech, right? And I wanted the camera to pull out and reveal that it's Laurie. But we couldn't do it with the other actress because she's actually in another scene as a different character. So we couldn't reveal the actual actress. The actress that originally played Laurie was the one playing bass guitar in the song, and it would have made sense that Laurie's playing bass guitar on the concert. Why would Laurie be playing bass guitar? It's not Laurie, right? It's not a musician. So I would have had to rewrite 4 scripts to include her. So it was actually good fortune that the original actress was not available to re-record the lips. Gabbia did it, and then we were able to do that epic scene where we pull back. And to me, that's my favorite thing that I've ever filmed. That one scene. Because she was a reincarnation of Laurie, who has since passed away. Okay, and that's a whole nother story. So now the lips become something much more than just a cool way to shoot something. We were actually able to reveal, and then that brings in another character from another movie, and Gabbia did such a great job in Street Chase. She's the one that is yelling at the mobsters, right, and they're telling them to get the guy. And so we included her in a second movie, and now she's in Metal Crush as well. So she's in 3 movies now, and it's a beautiful relationship. So that's the story of the Red Lip, since you brought it up.
Love it. Let me tell you, it was so classically done. I think that's why the Red Lips were important, is that it was so classic looking. It looked like an old coloration movie to me, and that nailed it. And the music, I'm going to tell you right now, the voices you have are phenomenal. They're just dead on A-list, A+ list people. I mean,
thank you.
The music sent chills down my arm.
I appreciate that.
Just
thank you.
You have a rare talent for finding talent.
I appreciate that, and I divert all of that credit to my collaboration with Drew Lane and just working together. He and I have developed a really amazing partnership where we kind of see the same thing, and I know if he's going to like it or not. Like, you, to get one song, you literally listen to 100 or maybe even a couple hundred songs to get the right one for the right scene. And to be able to put a lot of those musicians into the movie is a dream also. Sometimes you can't do it. Sometimes the song, you just find the right song and you get the rights to it and pop it in. But to be able to bring the musicians in is a big deal. And this is a great segue, because Ankit, I sent you a clip. I sent it by email. You can download it. I think last time we tried to show something and my computer was not. I can try to show it, but you can download that video. That's a new video. I like to talk about it and how it ties into the stories, and it also ties into the theme of the day, which is the Laurie theme.
No, Henning, I grew up in the 70s, and I wanted to make sure that you knew that it wasn't only the cool kids that went to see the Rocky Horror Picture Show, because there were chess nerds there too. And and also, well,
you know,
in the 70s,
you were cool just by being there, man. Just by being at the theater at midnight on Saturday night.
But in the 70s, the Red Lips were associated with Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones.
That's true too. Yeah. The Rolling Stones lips, and that was again. I think that the Rocky Horror lips were kind of a tribute to Mick Jagger and the Stones, and it was just, again, once something is gone for like 40 years, you can bring it back, and it's not People don't, they don't accuse you of taking something. You got to wait a while. I'm trying to do some homage and pay tribute to Tarantino because his, some of his stuff came out in the 90s, which has been 20 years. So we can do a little of that also. Yeah. And that's kind of why we did.
I wish I could stay, Henning. You're awesome. I really enjoyed listening to you.
All right, we'll get the recording. This is good on the recording.
I'll be back later.
Horror day and age. I mean, Rocky Horror movie kept playing even after I was 30. It just down the street at one theater. They play it every Saturday night. And I hate to admit this. Every year I would say, I'm going to go watch it or go see it. I mean, somebody will always come up and I've never seen it. Never seen it. I know every song to it. I've heard all my friends singing them. I know. I think we even had the album, of all the music in it, soundtracks.
Yeah.
But I never had time to go to movies. This is why I tell people. This is why I like going to your movies because I can go.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get this up. Give us a minute.
Sure, no problem. Let me do a little description of what you're seeing here. What you're going to see here.
Okay.
We started to our films, as you know, Kimberly and Ankit and Sasha. Our films are inspirational and motivational entertainment. They're entertainment first, and then everything we do has got an inspirational, motivational bent to it. The characters, as I said, are all based on real people, and you take the stories take these different turns and twists. And we thought it would be a cool idea to do a series of rock operas, and where the music video tells part of the story of what's going on in these movies. And we did this in a very unique way. It's not, I can play it on, let me try to play it on mine. All right.
Okay.
And we feature Kaylee Marie, who she's just going to be massive. She's going to be massive. And she's breaking out right now. She plays Nancy in Hit or Twist. And then Lori, again, played by Gabbia, and they're both in this. Austin is in this as well. Drew Lane makes a cameo appearance as well in this music video. So let me try to do it from here. I downloaded it.
That's what I like about your movies. He even put me in the movie. So if you're going to on the set, he's going to find a way to put you in the movie. Hey, can you just go over there and sit at that table? And talk for an hour. That's what we did. So you're going to
fun.
How about a movie on Henning? How about a movie on Kimberly Calhoun? A short movie on Kimberly Calhoun.
No.
Hey man, all you gotta do is say the word. Let's start. Let's start the
all
process.
I do is look at that one scene I'm in. I gotta go lose weight. That's all I get. I'm like, I'm gonna go lose more weight. I gotta work out. And that's what I appreciate about the actors and actresses. They really work very hard at maintaining their physical appearance, which is a lot of work. People have no idea.
Again,
it's hard to act. You got to remember lines. I can't do that, Ankit. Can you get it, Henning? I was having problems.
Okay, I'm going to. I just unlocked it, so you should be able to do it right now.
Thank you.
See if you can pull it down, because my screen is not allowing me to share. So for some reason. So yeah, these just tell me, give me a thumbs up if you got that going. These actors, we chose. For a lot of these roles, we chose people who are beautiful people inside and out, and their physical appearance is amplified by their sincerity, and in terms of how they deliver their lines. And again, you saw it on set, Kimberly. I mean, you saw how into it the actors got. And I always, when I cast, I basically will share a lot more than a lot of directors will share, because I want to tell the story behind the story, and I want to see if they perk up. Now, you're dealing with actors, so you have to read between the lines and make sure that it's sincere, because they're used to acting, right? So they could be acting like they're interested, or they could really be interested. So that's also part of the challenge, and it comes through, and we want to set an ideal or an example for people. And this is the movies, so you want everything to be pretty, you want everything to be just right, and you want people to be able to strive for an ideal. And that's how we do the casting, and our actors just bring it every time, and it's a pleasure. Yeah.
And I think let me just give me a minute and I should have it. It's still not allowing me to, it's still for some reason marked private.
Okay, you asked me another question. I'm going to fix this right now. Hold on.
Let's see. Control C. Control V. There we go. Let's see if I can get it now. It's still marked private.
I'm going to fix it right now with this. There we go. Okay. Give me 1 more minute. Ask me something else.
I ask you something. You work and talk at the same time. You just impress me so much.
I can. It's only been,
when you were doing the coloration, you said you had to change, and you're having to get so close to the person. What did they do to make their skin look so smooth? Because I tell you what, I run into that problem too. It's very, very difficult. I mean, she's got beautiful skin to begin with, but geez, that's like, okay, let's put a microscope up to, when you got 4K and HD cameras, nothing goes away, right?
Well, again, I'm not an expert in that area. You have good makeup people, and they know how to do it, and again, you just you get in close, you see if you have the right focus and what the blemishes are, and you see if there's a way to cover whatever that, because when you're in that close, you're literally seeing pores. When you see this up on a big screen, you're going to see pores. So that's how we wanted to make sure that we all right, I just sent you the link again.
Okay.
We want to make sure that when we color these, and also when we shoot these, that when you're watching it on a big screen, that you're still gonna love it, because everything gets amplified. And that's where sometimes people who haven't been on movie sets, they don't understand why you're so there's such an attention to detail. There's something that doesn't belong in this frame, and it's way down the way, right? And then people think you're crazy, what's wrong with this guy? No one's ever gonna see that. And then sure enough, when you get in editing, and then sometimes you don't even see it in editing, and then when you go to screen it and you watch on the screen, you're like, I told you. And we're hiding all kinds of things when we shoot. We're hiding modern cars, we're hiding cell phones. Kaylee I shouldn't even call her out for this, not her fault. She had a cell phone in her back pocket, and the kids, what do? They put their phone. A lot of us, we just put it in our back pocket. Who's going to see that? You can see the phone in their back pocket. Now, do you know it's a phone? Maybe, but why should it be? It shouldn't be there. So you're constantly shooting around things. When you're shooting outside, and when you're shooting, in an outdoor scenario, and people don't remember, these things. And this is 1984, or this is 1989. There's no cell phones. There's no flat screen TVs. There are no modern cars. There are no what else? The logos on. We had a guy wearing a hat that had we say no logos at all, because they don't know what is what, right? You can't wear a shirt that has what's a more modern Gwen Stefani on it. Gwen Stefani was wasn't even born yet.
I was going to say.
What are you doing? You can't. That doesn't register. Doesn't make sense.
I remember your memo saying that too, and I go, I know these kids aren't going to get this. I know they don't understand.
You bring extra clothes and extra hats, and you say, you get out, and go change, and come back.
Go change and come back. Exactly. So I think we got it running.
Okay.
Let's play it. I'm going to give it the full screen.
There it is. Yeah.
So we will give it the full screen. Thank you, Ankit. And where did I put it? Give me a second. I got to find the screen. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to give it full screen. Privileges. Here we go. Rock and roll. So check this. This is just beautiful how you did this.
Thank you.
Oh wait, the music.
Beginning, and this is Kaylee meets Drew. Take one. All right, and action. So let's hear it. Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. I don't know why I try to find the light inside me. Everything, all I see is empty. Can you find me here? Falling, I'm falling, but will you hold my feet? Save me from feel your skin on mine. Always satisfied. Feel you deep inside. Can you find me here? Falling, falling, will you hold my feet? Save me from falling apart, but I feel right when you lost in the dark, you're the one I run to. But I feel right in you. Lost in the dark, you're the one I run to. Can you find me here? Falling, falling, will you hold my feet? Save me from
And it's nice to meet you, Nancy Drew.
Nice to meet you, Drew.
And, okay, I love it. Pick it up. Okay, great. We got it. All right.
And I gotta say, wow, that voice is phenomenal.
That's Kaylee Marie, and she's going to be, she plays Nancy in Hit or Twist. And she also is releasing a new music video tomorrow that we also produced and I directed. This new one. Then the one for tomorrow really is a social commentary as well. And will be debuting tomorrow. It's not part of the rock opera series, but it is going to be a very important part of our arsenal of communication. And she's just an awesome, great person, really good actress. And we're going to be working on, thank you guys. We're going to be working on the next rock opera. We filmed it this past Saturday at a beautiful resort here in Orange County, California. And this next one is going to blow you away. We have all of the beautiful scenes inside of this 6-star resort. A grand piano. She's wearing a red evening gown, and she's walking through the hotel. And we got drone shots, we got beach shots. It's like it is a production, and we're going to be showcasing that next week on movie night next week. So thank you for the positive comments, and yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So Henning, I have a very interesting question for you, because whenever I watch a movie, I watch it as a director size. So what I can do, or I can do a change in that movie. But the interesting part is that, so you are showing me an angle which is like maybe a back of my head. I want to see what's happening on the right side and the left side as well. So can we have a future movie where there are 3 different angles, and I will pick one of the angles and I'll see what's happening there, that side as compared to what's happening on.
Oh my God! You're trying to get fancy here. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I am open to discussing that with you. I know we have a private Zoom session coming up. There's things we do with these, and I love experimenting with camera angles, as you can see in that little clip. And the reason that it feels cinematic is we shot those scenes for the movie. So when you, and that's what makes these rock operas so special, that it looks like, man, this is a production to make this one music video. It looks like they did a lot of work. Well, we're taking clips from the movie and we're putting it into this, we're cutting it to the song. And so it's basically, you're repurposing the same footage. You're doing it using it in a different way. But as you can see, we had 4 different drone angles on that car, on that conversation outside. We had over the shoulder on both sides. We had the above the head. We had the below. We probably had 10 different angles for that one little scene, and you don't even hear the conversation, right? In the film, in Hit or Twist, you hear the whole conversation. So that's kind of our teaser to get in there. However, I am very interested in experimenting with camera angles. Remind me next week to show you guys something. I'm going to show you 2. I'm going to show you 2 camera techniques that we used in Metal Crush that I don't think have been done before because of the type of equipment that we use. And you have to really be fearless. There's like whenever there's something that's really dangerous to do, like I make sure I'm up to date on all my insurance policies, and I grab the camera and I go, right. So if it looks like I'm running through traffic to get this shot, right, and literally the car just misses me, it's probably me running the camera, and they only let me. And whenever I take the camera from Anita or from Steve, they're like, "Okay, he's about to do something pretty nuts." So I'll show you a couple things next week in that realm. And if you guys watched Destinova last week, you guys saw the camera go right through the fence, right through the fence.
That was
so.
When you asked me, what did I take from this movie? I took so much from the movie, but it was the red lips that just truly impacted the whole thing. The way she spoke.
I appreciate that, and it's what we try to do. I know we've been talking about this, but when you're making movies that are inspirational, motivational, transformational, we don't use violence in these movies, aggressive violence. We don't do it. We won't do it. It won't be. There's violence at times, but it's not graphic. If that makes sense. We don't use any type of graphic sexual imagery. We just don't do it. It's not that it's bad. It's just we just don't do it. And I even got some stuff with, Bella and Spencer kissing the diner, and people are like, man, they're really going at it in the diner. I'm like, well, they're happy.
Okay. And the fact that 2 actors can do this, but when you have really good acting skills, you don't need all of that.
You don't need it. And
you don't need it.
We use the music and the camera angles and the uniqueness of, again, on your end, the Lori Lips really struck. Somebody else might say, man, that one song got me. Somebody else might say, hey, I love the Cars because we use all the classic cars. So when you make movies and you're staying in staying within certain parameters, and I'm not saying those other things are bad. I'm saying that this is what we do. And that's why we love to experiment. The camera angles are a big part of it. The drone shots are a big part of it. That running camera is a big part of it. When you run right into somebody's face with the camera, and it makes it. You use all these techniques, and then by the end of the rainbow, you say, man, they didn't use profanity. Pretty much, they didn't use any. We just make up words. Make up a word that sounds worse than profanity, and you just solved it.
My dad used to do that.
They use the cars, the cameras, the acting, the songs, the makeup, the hair, all the things. And so I'm so proud of my team for bringing it the way they do. But that's why, and that's why when Ankit brings up, hey, can we do something cool with camera angles? I'm all for doing those kind of things. I don't want to use special effects. We didn't use any special effects in this in the movie. This comic book style with the rock opera, that's as far as I'm willing to go, pretty much. But all we're doing is taking the frame that we shot and we're transforming it. So it's not something it's not animation, if that makes sense. And so we want to keep it all real and accurate to the story, and it's just a ton of fun. So my time is up. I'm cutting it to somebody else.
Real quick before your time is up, because of a special mission that you have is anti-suicide. Your suicide mission to stop suicides. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but in India, they just suffered a huge loss of a big actor in India who committed suicide over the weekend. And it was huge. It was a huge impact. So huge that we have two spiritual people going to start a TV show with IVM TV to help bring some calm and peace to people. That's how impactful it was. But your mission, you have a mission to help prevent suicides. And I want to bring that mission and message out to people. And if you could share just a minute about it.
Yeah, everything is connected to everything else. And I'm so sorry for your loss. In India, you lost a public figure, and it just, whenever I hear a story like that, and everything's connected. Everything's connected. So if you look at the holistic, if you take the holistic approach, then you'll see that everything that I talk about and that my team and my tribe talks about, and we're kindred spirits, and that's why we're such good friends. Kimberly and Ankit's becoming a new friend, and because we understand the holistic scenario. I am primarily focused on inspirational, motivational, transformational communication. That's all I do, and that's all I will ever do. I'm not going to ever do anything else. There's different ways to bring it about, but you'll see that behind it, that's where we're headed. And by inspiring somebody, by giving them positivity, by giving them some fun, giving them examples to look up to, heroes to believe in, you can positively affect somebody's mental state and positively affect their psyche, and that in turn is going to reduce the suicide rate, which is the ultimate expression of a mental challenge that somebody's experiencing. And so for those of you out there, and I talk a lot about this on my Facebook Lives, I talk about how and I don't want to get into this now because it's a whole nother conversation.
No, I just want to introduce it.
And I also want to talk about my new movie called Anhero, which is the main character is a suicidal kid. And you're going to flip out when you see this movie. It hasn't even been shot yet. And I'm telling you what's going to happen. I can see it, how we're going to do this. You're going to lose it over this movie. And it's a very different approach. But the way I do it is, first of all, I create a character, and the character's relatable to a lot of kids. And I focus mostly on a teen and a young adult genre. That's where I'm playing right now. And later on, I have plans to expand that after 10 movies. So we'll get to 10 and then we'll move on to other topics or other genres. And you create a character that is a character that somebody can look up to, or that somebody can believe in, or that somebody can aspire to be like this. And then you show their transformation. And the dialogue is tough. At times, there's a song that I wrote the lyrics to, and Drew has graced me with his genius. And it's a heavy metal song, and it's going to be rough, and the lyrics are tough, and it's hard to listen to. But it addresses the issue, and then we bring that kid out of that space. And when you see how it happens and the change, then somebody can see that and say, man, that is something that I can at least I can think about it. And then we're encouraging dialogue. We're encouraging people to speak on it. We're donating the money to, this is a short film that's not a moneymaker really. We donating the money to the Suicide Prevention Lifeline, some of the money I should say. But it's something that I feel very strongly about. And if we continue, the way we can impact the suicide rate and is by just communicating positivity, encouraging people to communicate with each other, to seek out help, to seek out mentorship, seek out coaching, and that it's okay. Mental challenges are just like physical challenges or any other type of a challenge, in terms of if you can get help, get some help. If you get sick, you go see a doctor. If your brain or your mind is damaged, especially these past couple of months, if we're taking a hit, all of us are taking a hit mentally. So you want to seek out help for that. And sometimes it's just talking to somebody, and sometimes it's seeking out, professional help. And for the young people out there that are watching, and for parents and coaches that deal with young people, encourage them to speak up. In making this movie, it's been a challenge for me because I get upset very easily. Whenever kids get hurt, I get extremely emotional. So it's hard for me to do it, but I have to, because I have to know what's what. And I talk to parents who lost kids by suicide, and that's like the worst conversation you could ever have. And you just don't even know, because I got 4, and I'm like, man, if something like that happened to me, I don't know what I would do, right? And so you get the real issue. And if you will encourage your kids to communicate, even if they're showing no signs of mental illness, because sometimes they don't talk to the parents, right? They don't talk to the parents. So encourage your kids to talk, find out what's up. And if you see something off, or if you notice something that's just a little bit different, then take note. And then when you have the next conversation, see if it's a pattern. And a lot of times that communication can be curative, because you could recommend for somebody to talk to them, or a friend, and we can reduce. These are things that we can have an impact on, and I'm happy to do it, and I love to do it. And that's where my ultimate passion comes from. So there you go.
I just wanted to share that with you, and I'm going to, after the show, I'll share you a link, and maybe you can help me reach out to this person, because it is happening, and we knew that there would be a trend in the worst direction, but it's inspiring people. Like you said, don't hesitate to stop and take a moment and care for someone. And sometimes all the people need to do is just receive a little bit of absolution, or a little bit of affection. That's it.
Sometimes that's all it takes. Yeah.
So thank you for sharing, and please definitely keep sending us links. I know we're going to see you next week. But I can't wait. I
invite you all to come on. Sorry to step on you. I invite you all to come on tomorrow. We're going to show Romancery, the new version, the new color, beautiful cinematic widescreen version. Oh man, you guys are gonna fall in love with this. If you love the music, it's all music, baby. It's 90% music.
It's Wednesday nights, and I love the fact that you're doing
Wednesday night, 6 o'clock. Yeah, Wednesday 6 o'clock Pacific time. And great to see you all. Great to be on, and we'll see you next week.
We'll have
what's that website again? I was trying to get.
We'll send it to you. We'll send it to you.
Yeah. Put it. I'll put it right in the chat right here, and then you can share it. Thanks, guys. You're all invited for tomorrow. See you guys soon.
Take care, Henning.
Thank you so much. Awesome.
Love the movie.
The other thing that I was going to add, and I was watching a little bit of the movie, it was a great movie from what I could see, but you were talking about the suicide and everything, and I also, in addition to all the media stuff that I do, I work for an education company and have friends that are educators, and sometimes those messages that they're trying to get you are right there in the text that they send out in their tests. Because a lot of times, like Henry was saying, they don't want to reach out, they don't want to necessarily communicate in the normal ways that we would expect them to communicate, but they might write a short story, or they might write other things. So our teachers, our testers, and other people have to be aware and try to pay attention, because sometimes those cry outs for help are actually in those materials that they're writing. And it may seem innocent, it may seem totally fictional, it may seem not directly related to their lives, but in a lot of cases it is. So I would just urge our teachers and others to pay attention to some of the things that the kids are writing, because sometimes they may be given a cry for help that you may not recognize unless you actually carefully look at what they are saying.
Okay, so we got a new guest here, and this is Mark Pinto. Hi, Mark. How are you doing?
Mark is a guest on my show.
So is he a friend of yours, Jim?
He is. He is indeed.
So share with. So can we unmute Mark? please? Somebody. Sometimes there we go. Mark, welcome.
Hi, greetings from Sonoma County.
Where are you at?
Sebastopol.
Which is California, Northern California.
Northern California. How's the weather there?
It's going to be hot today. It'll probably be in the 90s. Unseasonably warm this time of year, but it's good for the grapes.
I got to know Mark when he was in Silicon Valley, where I am now, and so he moved up there to have his own vineyard and to have some more land, and so
lots of critters.
Lots of critters.
Yeah, I noticed you have some critters. Is that a duck I saw?
No, that's
Oh, dog. Okay,
that's a cat.
Okay.
You haven't been to the farm lately, I take it.
Cat. Okay, cat. I keep seeing an animal moving. But anyway, so you have a vineyard.
Well, we have some grapes, but I wouldn't call it a vineyard. It's not a working farm. It's a hobby farm. I'm bringing in the apricots right now. I baked a nice apricot pie, and I'm going to make some apricot jam today later on. So
his wife was impressed by it. So
yeah, if she's impressed by it.
Oh, he disappeared. Where'd he go? Well, hopefully he'll come back. I was interested to learn about his vineyard. Oh, by the way, Jim, thank you yesterday for enjoying my show. I know you ordered the motivational speakers book and we're making some comments. So I definitely appreciated you enjoying the conversation that we had, and appreciated you being there in the chat with me as I was conducting that interview. So I just wanted to thank you for being there supporting me.
That was he's a motivational speaker, but man, he just was powerful. So yeah, you did a good job with your guest selection.
Thank you. I try to get some good, powerful speakers, and definitely he has a very powerful message. And sometimes it's just things that we learn from our parents. As he was saying, he's definitely an older gentleman, but he's learned a lot even from his mom, who has passed on. But he's definitely learned a lot.
Yeah. And Amazon said it was going to arrive last night, but I'm still waiting.
Yeah, I got you. Well, hopefully it'll get there, and hopefully you can read it and enjoy it. So I know it can sometimes take a while and everything. So we know that can happen. So definitely appreciated you joining in on that conversation. And
my pleasure.
He definitely enjoyed meeting you. So that was great. So
yeah. So I really got a lot out of it, and I have yet to be on an IBM TV show except for mine that I haven't learned something. And I tuned in, and within 1 minute, I was kind of jaw dropping because he was saying things that were just so spot on about finding your passion, and and he was talking about, like, if you like cooking, maybe cooking is your passion. Don't be afraid to try, And I think that you just have to have the courage to follow your passion, and things will work out.
Yep, that's definitely the message he was putting out there and everything. By the way, is it raining over there where you are? Because I don't know how it is over there, or you, Jim, and I don't know if Kim told you, but we're in the middle of day 2 of rain, and I think it's supposed to go all the way till Friday. So I'm thinking about going and buying some wood and building an ark or something, because we've been getting steady rain for a while.
Yeah. Well, Kimberly was telling us that a tree fell right by her, and she could hear it cracking and then falling, but it's too wet to go out and look to see which tree fell.
Well, I can relate to that. My tree falling story is actually a very scary one in hindsight, and it was I was still an adult, but I was much younger than I was now, so I was probably in my 30s, and I was in between jobs, and I was staying in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and staying with my mom and everything, because it was, like I said, between jobs, and thinking about getting a job in either Winston-Salem or Greensboro. And we had a major storm. I think it might have been Bertha. They always name it after different names and everything. And I went to sleep as the storm was developing, and I got me a good night's sleep and everything. And then after I got up, my mom was like, how did you sleep? I was like, I slept good. She's like, yeah, you slept through a major storm. I'm like, major storm? What are you talking about? She's like, follow me. And we went outside, and the tree had literally fallen down by my window. And I'm like, if it had fallen the other way, who knows what had happened. But it literally fallen down and everything. I'm like, yep, slept through a storm.
Yeah. And, who knows which way that tree could have fallen. And
exactly.
but you're still here.
Thank you. Try to do some good and positive things. What's the weather like over there in India, Ankit?
India is, on the North India, it's pretty hot. The temperature is more than 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And we have a lot of tension going on in India, apart from the societal case. There are Chinese troops who are at the border just trying to create some kind of dispute which is going on since more than 3 months now, because I believe that it's more towards diverting the mind from the public. So they are creating some kind of nationalism for their own public, because there's a lot of disturbance going on in China. So to create that, they are disturbing our borders. We have a very big border with China. So today what happened, without a fire, around 40 soldiers died either side, just by hand handling. That's it. So that's what's going on in between India and China, and there is the tension going on. That's always a tension with India and Pakistan border, if you're aware about. So a lot of
y'all having some serious summer weather, and like I said, we're actually cool over here because that rain is making it like around 60 degrees or something like that. So it actually feels almost fall-like versus summer-like. But I'll take that, because I know usually in June and definitely July and August, we get some very tense and hot weather. So I'll take that little bit of a break at least while I can get it. So I would definitely take that break and enjoy the break while I have it. So, it doesn't always happen.
Mark, how was the morning show yesterday? You had a Monday morning show as well, apart from the show which happens at around 2 p.m. EST. How was that yoga show?
That's the one I was talking about with Jim. The show went really well. The one yesterday went really well. We had Rufus Stevens on, and we did that. And then we did a special edition that I think I sent to y'all as well with the yoga lady. But both of them were just fantastic. They talked about different things that are going on. The yoga lady was actually in Germany, even though she's originally from North Carolina, from Charlotte. But Rufus was just amazing. Rufus, as Jim was saying, and he caught part of the show, talked about the book that he wrote called Life Lessons from Miss Maddie, which was his mom, who raised 5 children as a single mother, and gave all kinds of life lessons that touched on everything from faith to education to a bunch of other things that are lessons that he is even carrying on to his life now. And he's, an elder, what some people in this society would consider an elderly gentleman, but definitely is still very much out there doing motivational speaking and things of that nature. So he's definitely out there doing some great conversations, and we really enjoyed the conversation. So that was just wonderful.
Yeah. And the origin of that book, Mark, if I got that correctly, was he was talking about being a motivational speaker, and his brother told him, you're just saying the things our mom said.
Right. Exactly. Just saying the things that we are already learning, growing up, and things of that nature. So that's what they was going on. I was curious about one other thing, and not to put a damper on everything, but with that, as Kim was talking about, with that major star that passed away, I know sometimes when we've had major stars that pass away, they make a big deal about it here in America. Will there be a big public ceremony with the star, or not at all? How will y'all handle that? Because I know, like, even when Elvis really, if we want to be honest about it, Elvis killed himself. So, some people would argue that even Prince and Michael, 2 of our legacy people, did the same. So, that being said, how will it be handled there? Because I know y'all are from a different culture. Burials and everything else are handled differently. And of course, this being a suicide, will there be any sort of celebration of his life?
So, Mark, what happened is that when it's normal days, basically, when there is nothing going on, so we have a big marathon of people joining us and for blessings and for just to have a large glimpse. And also, there is an open van where you put that, all those rituals, because we do a lot of rituals when someone dies. And we have an open van with a crystal framed box, and everyone can see. And that, so sometimes if you talk about the journey, so that journey varies from 2 miles to 10 miles. Because we go to a buried ground, and then some people got buried, some people got burned, because in Hindu religion, we burn the body and then we just use the ashes and put it in the river Ganga. So there are a lot of different rituals, but if you ask me what happened with previous stars, there was huge rally and maybe millions of people joining us on roads just to see the last glimpse. You can check out a lot of videos on YouTube. But this time, since 3 months, we lost around 7 to 10 Bollywood personalities, and prominent ones would be around 4 to 5. And because of the COVID, there is no. You don't have that permission and possibility to have more than 50 people or 20 people at a time. But still, it's difficult to stop people. And there was heavy rain in Bombay yesterday and day before yesterday. So it happened during that rain. There were a lot of people still there, but they were not allowed at a point of where they were doing all those rituals. So it happens like that. But if you check out the videos, you will be amazed how many people join you for blessings. Sometimes we start in the morning at 9 and we do the rituals at around evening time. Whole day people are just coming just for a glimpse.
Well, they do that here, especially unfortunately when a president dies, and the lines will be forever long. There was a gentleman killed that was pretty famous 2 years ago, and they literally rented the stadium in LA, I think it was. I don't know if you remember this, Mark. I think it was a rap performer. And the lines took up the whole, the whole part, the whole baseball field or whatever. But they had people come in because it was such a shockwave that somebody would die like this. So, yeah, it's, but just for a glimpse, just for a glimpse. And I think it's because when things like this happen, that person may have been a big impact on, because they're influencers. Okay, when an actor, they're influencers. They are. You go watch and you go, wow, that was cool, or whatever story they're trying to sell to you or tell you. Somebody feels and takes away something from every movie, just like Henning and I were talking about earlier. And so they're such influencers and impact so many lives. Everybody wants to say thank you, right? Everybody wants to say thank you. And, maybe it's sad, for a life to be taken away that way. That's one of the reasons why I think I was very happy that Henning came on when he did, so that we could talk about this a little bit because of his mission, right? His mission is very interesting. I've never really met with anyone in my lifetime who had that mission to help.
And it's been a mission that we've needed for a long time. Like I was just mentioning earlier, we've had so many tragedies, even here in America, that would fall in that same category. Like I was saying to Jim earlier before you came back on, Kim. I remember being a very young person. I think I was maybe in my teens when Elvis died, and Elvis was definitely a suicide as well. No matter what you say, you're taking pills, that's a form of suicide, whether it was diagnosed or whatever it was or not. But in the same with Michael Jackson and Prince in fairly more recent times. But we've had a lot of those kind of things happen even in our American culture, and of course it happens all over the world. So I agree that it's something that definitely has to be addressed. And we've even seen it happen with a couple of and you know this, Kim, with a couple of professional sports athletes that were involved in some of these kind of things.
We see it all too often, especially with the athletes who've had head injuries, which had become a mission of mine, was to help find a way to reduce the head injuries. And one of my ways of doing it was I decided not to watch NFL players football anymore, right? And then what happens to me? I get back into the NFL again. But literally, I turned it off for years going, I am not going to watch these guys destroy their brains anymore. That's how I'm going to not support it, right? But not enough people do that. But they do. The hockey players, probably some of the worst brain damages, and they will eventually take the gun and put it to their head and end their misery. So there's just so many things, and you think these guys have everything to live for, and at the end of the day, they're just tired. They're tired of not being appreciated or being seen for who they are.
It's time to have a chess fitness show running on IBM TV with Jim.
And is Mark Pinto part of the chess conversation?
Yes, he is.
All righty. So we will. It's time for chess.
chess sounds like a wonderful thing. I remember trying to play chess way back when. So,
well, I must say, my guests today are Mark Pinto and John Fedorowicz. But I want to, hello, both of you. These are a couple of my old friends. But I want to transition into the chess fitness from the show that was just on, because we were blessed by IBM TV to have this show. And but I want to talk, I'm Jim Eade, and I am the chairman and CEO of the Eade Foundation, eadefoundation.org. And one of our missions is Chess Without Borders. And we want to bring anybody who wants to play chess into the chess community, wherever you are. And the only constraint you have is bandwidth. If you can log on, you can play chess with anyone all over the world. But what do I mean by chess fitness? Do I mean, like, can I pump this chess pawn? No, I don't mean chess fitness in terms of that. We know what physical fitness is. We know what mental fitness is. We're learning about spiritual fitness. But, you know, what is chess fitness? And I will tell you that this pawn is as good as this pawn. They all have the value of 1. It's a basic unit of chess. We call it the unit of force, and it's the unit we call material in the chess world. And if you have a pawn, it's worth 1. Doesn't matter the size of the pawn. Doesn't matter if you're big or if you're small. You have the same unit. And it doesn't matter what color you are. If you have this color or this color is not worth 3/5 of this color. They're all equal. They have the value of 1 in the world of chess. So color matters in chess, but equality matters as well. And so I want to invite my guests to talk to them, mostly to educate me about how they got chess fit. And when you want to talk about chess fitness, you have to have your goals. You want to know, basically, how fit do I want to be? Do I want to be world championship caliber fit? Well, if you do, you're going to have to put in a lot of work, 10,000 hours of work and play. You got to compete, and you have got to put in that time and effort. But do you want to just beat your dad? And maybe you don't have to get so good. You don't have to be that fit. You don't have to be pumping a lot of pawns to get to be that fit, to beat your dad. What is your goal? But what I want to know is, how did John and Mark become, in Mark's case, a master like myself, and in John's case, a grandmaster? So John, why don't you come on board and tell me about how you got started playing chess?
Yeah, it's great to be with you guys.
Thank you, John.
Jim, I really like your hat.
Thank you.
Well, I started playing chess by accident. It was Fisher and Spassky was on TV, and so I came home one day, and I used to watch the 4:30 movie, and if it was Frank Sinatra week, I don't think I would have been a chess player. But I think there was like this movie, Splendor in the Grass, with Natalie Wood. It was a girls' movie. I couldn't watch that. So I flipped some channels. You know, people back then, maybe, there were only like, 6 channels?
Right.
So the last channel, Channel 13, which we never watched because it was educational, had chess on it. And so I started watching the Fischer-Spassky chess match, and I thought it was pretty interesting. I thought the names of the openings were funny, you know, Nimzo the Indian and stuff like that. So that's how I started playing chess, and I played my first tournament like a year later. My friend Glenn Peterson taught me a lot about chess. He was the first one that taught me a lot about chess. Took me to tournaments, and then after that, I started going to the Westfield Chess Club, where I met like nuts like Mark Pinto and those guys. That was a great club, and so many nice people there, and a lot of people, Dennis Barry and Mike Valvo and all these people that helped me a lot, and I didn't really know that I was going to become a chess player. I was, after I graduated high school, I was hanging out, and I guess after about a month, my mother goes, "Are you going to do anything?" And I told her, I said, "I don't know." I said, maybe I'll join the Marines or become a chess player. And then she goes, "Is being a chess player just doing nothing?" But then I started traveling a lot and got better. And and it's been great, the whole time. So and meeting and I met so many nice people like you two guys. You two nuts. So I met a lot of great people with chess all over the world. And people go like, when the little kids see me at tournaments, they go, "Do you know everybody?"
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it may seem that way, but I know a lot of people. But that's what I just chess is a great game, and it's been really good to me, and I still like playing.
Well, John, I think, like you said, you get to meet so many people, and it also, I think, chess is the gift of a lifetime. When you start out playing as a kid, you learn to sit still and think, and that skill is directly transferable back into the classroom. And when you teach kids to play chess, we don't tell them this, but they think they must be smart if they can play chess. And that confidence is directly transferable back into the classroom. And then you get to be guys like Mark and I, where we're weekend warriors, but we love the pastime of chess as adults. We just love it. And then you see older people with the classic picture of two old men playing in the park. And it's a solace in old age. You're not worrying about your doctor bills. You're not worrying about anything else but your chess game with your friend. So it depends on your goals in life. Do you want to be able to just play chess with your friend? You might have more fun than Garry Kasparov and Anatoly Karpov.
And Jim, and sometimes somebody like Jim can beat somebody like me.
I know.
And not only that, when somebody like Jim does beat somebody like me, somebody like Jim never lets me forget it.
Well, what about when Mark beat you? Have you ever forgotten that?
They never let me forget it, but it's okay. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mark, how did you get started?
Well, it's a similar story. I had been playing before that with the neighborhood kids, but then when the Fisher match came on, I was riveted to it. I happen to watch Channel 13 a lot because I like the music, and it's the public education channel. I still watch PBS on a daily basis, so I'm kind of a PBS fan. I'm a member. But, it expanded, and I was fortunate enough to live in a town that had a great chess club. Westfield was a very strong chess club. And John lived across the street from the Piscataway Chess Club, and I used to ride my bike up to John's house through Plainfield, New Jersey. And we played thousands of 5-minute games. And at that time, we were about equal strength. But John progressed because he went into New York. He had the courage to go to New York. I was a little intimidated by it. And he was playing very good players, and he became very good. And, even though we played thousands of games, testing the various lines of the dragon, etc., John got very good. And I knew that he had arrived when he beat his first master, Matthew Looks. Then he drew with Petrosian, former world champion. I said, John's arrived.
Yeah.
And, we've only played twice. The first tournament was one of the Glenn's tournaments, which I kind of held up earlier.
Yeah.
This was the tournament. This is the one where I beat John.
That's
Still
it.
have the trophy. And then the second time I played him was 1989 when John won the New York Open. And
a big tournament.
I'm going to hold this up. Here's the chess life. Whoops.
In front of the camera. There you go.
Here's the chess overview. And on the bottom, you have all the people that he beat.
Hey, John. Nice hair.
Yeah.
Nice.
He beat me in the first round. At the time, I was 2350 FIDE, so I was actually a decent player then. But the only problem was it's the only time I made the cover of Chess Life, but the mailing label covered my name, so nobody saw it.
Yeah, that was funny.
On this list, he played Logron, Dorfman, former world champion Smyslov, Romanishin.
Yeah, Romanishin. Yeah.
Elvest, Kudrin, Raziev, and Gurevich, and he won the tournament. Yeah. And this was the tournament that Kamsky defected in, right?
Yes, that's why. In the newspapers he got all the headlines, and I didn't get anything, but that's okay. I was kind of used to that anyway. Did
you buy 5 copies and give one to your mother?
Oh yeah, of course. She's like, "What's with the boxing glove? What's with the boxing glove?" And I told her, I said, "They think I look like Rocky a little bit." And then she goes, "Yeah, I guess."
Hey, John, we're out here on the West Coast, but it sounds like you got some kind of accent. I can't really identify it. Where did you pick up your accent?
I think I was from the Bronx.
The Bronx. Oh, that's what I'm hearing. Okay.
Yeah, my grandfather. I lived in the Bronx, and then when I was and then in 1969, my parents moved to Piscataway, New Jersey, as Mark said, But my grandfather just stayed in the Bronx the whole time.
Yeah.
So, it was kind of nice when I started going to New York a lot to play in tournaments. Just took the subway to his house, had a place to stay.
Yeah.
And got to travel all over. My parents were just happy to get rid of me.
Yeah.
So I was taking subways and New Jersey Transit and whatever it was called back then all over the place.
Yeah.
And I would do that. That's how I'd go to the Westfield Chess Club also.
Yeah.
And just a lot of traveling and playing, like Mark said, playing the New York chess players was especially the Russian immigrant guys that came over.
Yes.
Shamkovich, Lev Albert, Anatoly Lane, Gingy, unbelievable. Learned so much from them. Lost a lot to them.
World-class players. I think Gingy at the time was in the top 10 in the world.
Yep.
And we played Petrosian, we played Smyslov. I mean, we played good
New
players.
York was the mecca of chess for a long, long time. But I think now it might have been transferred back to St. Louis through the patronage.
I would agree with that.
Yes.
And the youth programs, to get back to what you're saying, that chess is the great equalizer. Everybody's equal. There's no prejudice in chess. You can play at any age. You can play at any strength, regardless of your economic background. You have an opportunity to play, and you're equal. And that's what the foundation kind of promotes. For those that are underprivileged, Jim provides sets and clocks and instruction. And I'm affiliated with the Mechanics Institute here in San Francisco, which has the same mission, but it's more local in nature. The Mechanics Institute was the original University of California. It was started, when San Francisco was founded during the gold rush, and provided education, continuing education for the engineers and the public. And it still exists today as it's probably the oldest private library in the United States, certainly the oldest chess club in the United States.
Started in 1854?
Excuse me, 1859.
1859.
And it's kind of a mecca, for people. Every world champion except for Kasparov has come to the Institute at one time or another. Fischer gave a simul there. And it's been an incubator for a lot of grandmasters. We've generated a lot of grandmasters in the last 25 years. Sam Shanklin, who's the former U.S. champion, he may still be the U.S. champion. I'm not sure what the official title is, but I bought, and then a lot of strong players. It's very similar to the Westfield Club. When we grew up, we had the luxury of having Tal Benko walk in on a given day, Bent Larson, Walter Brown. So we had the opportunity to play very strong players, and it increased our strengths because even though we may lose to them, we sometimes beat them.
Yeah. Well, these are legendary players. And for people who don't know chess, you're rattling off names like on that cover of Chess Life. These people were part of the chess culture that we all share because we have studied their games and we've learned from them. Even if we haven't even met them, we can learn from them.
And that's one thing that I would emphasize to the young people. Now that you have the advantage of having the computers, in the old days, we had books and index cards. I didn't do a lot of studying. John did. John became a theoretician, and I've just basically played. And I happen to have some talent that I could get to master level, and I'm a FIDE master now. I did tie for first in the Manhattan Chess Club Championship, and I won the U.S. Amateur back in the day.
Yeah.
And I came second in the U.S. Senior a couple years ago. Now I'm a senior, and I'll tell a story. Like I said, any age can play, and I played in the U.S. Open in Wisconsin a couple years ago, and I'm playing an 8-year-old young lady, Rachel Lee, who's a very strong player. And I'm a FIDE master, and she's 8 years old, and we drew, and everybody's congratulating me that I drew with the 8-year-old.
Yeah. I've got a picture of that, Mark. I've got a picture that I sent that around and to all of our buddies, and I had the caption was that Mark holds her to a draw.
Yeah. Well, at one time we were that little kid. Now we're the old guys.
Yes. Well, it's okay because we all grew up in the Fischer boom, and chess was not a big thing in America, in the United States, until Fischer, and then all of a sudden there were chess players coming out of the woodwork. And some of them, like when I was in New England, when I was high school age, I thought I was a big deal. And I thought I was the next Bobby Fischer. And then I went down to New York City and I saw John Fedorov's name or game on the demo board. And I'm looking at this guy is a year younger than me and I can't figure his game out. So I knew I was not the next Bobby Fischer. And all of us come to that realization at some point.
Yeah, but you still can enjoy the game at any level, and that's the thing. The beauty of chess, and you don't even have to play a game. You can look at a study, and for the young people out there that are watching, you know, it takes a lot of hard work to achieve the high levels, and you got to dedicate. Like any other activity, you must dedicate yourself. And there's different levels. If you just want to play for the enjoyment and the beauty of the game, that's one thing. If you want to be a professional, it's a different story. It's a job. It's hard work. And John can attest to that. The hours that he put in and the hard work and the disappointments and the struggles that he had as a young guy.
You know, you remember the disappointments more than you remember anything. I mean,
unfortunately,
that's so true of all sports.
The disappointments stick in your brain more than your wins do for some reason. You know,
well, you learn more from
I tell people, you know, Mark, I tell my students that, you know, I go, like, chess players are crazy. I go, I'm still mad about a game I played in 1978. You know,
Same
you know,
here.
I'm annoyed. I lost to Kasparov in August of 1981. The game still pisses me off. You know, I mean, I remember one time when Fritz came out. I woke up at like 4:30 in the morning, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to put my game with Kasparov on Fritz and see if I was winning. You know, and the game was so confusing that even Fritz blew up. So, you know, but that's the computers and everything, you know, that we use now. But yeah, Mark, I hate to pull the old geezer routine on the listeners, but Mark, you know, like Mark said, we used to use books. I used to have a lot of notebooks. Like, one of my favorite things to do was, after I lost a terrible game, I would write in my notebook, don't play this opening anymore, and put a big X through it. Yeah. Jim wrote Chess for Dummies, which is a very good book if you want to learn how to play chess quickly. It's an excellent book.
Thank you, John. But John, you're also a great coach too. How many teams have you coached?
A lot, and now I work at Spire Legacy School in New York City, and I'm actually I'm on the faculty, which is kind of funny. You know, I saw our old friend Grandmaster James Torjan. At a tournament in Chicago a few years ago, and he says to me, he sounded like my mother. He goes, "Are you doing anything with your life?" And I said, "Yeah, I work at a school." You know, I was like, "I'm a teacher," and he goes like, "Really?" And I had my other friend look it up on his phone and show it to him, and he's like, "You're on the faculty. What's this world coming to?" And you know, and so yeah, I mean, I teach. Angelo over here is quite amused by the whole thing. I teach these kids 6 and 7 years old.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the kids love me for some reason. I don't understand. Angela's theory is that I'm, you know, around their age.
Emotionally.
So that's why
you
they
have a
like
great
me
way
so
with
much.
kids, John. I've seen you, and
you have a great way with kids.
Credit
but
to
you know, when I was teaching, I would be teaching kids, you know, grammar school, elementary school, late age kids, and their parents would come to pick them up, and I'd ask them, "Do you play chess?" And they'd go, "Oh no." And I'd be, "I'm teaching your kid. I could teach you." But there was this whole idea that chess is so mysterious and so complicated that I couldn't do it. But the fact is, anyone can play chess. You guys agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a competition. And you know, I mean, you just have to like it. And like you said, you know, to open our show, Jim, is you said chess. You know, not everybody wants to be a grandmaster. Some people just like to play. You know, I mean, some people are happy being 1700. That's okay. You know, I mean, it's.
And for the parents that are watching out there, I'd like to emphasize that, you know, it helps in cognitive skills and pattern recognition, which is helpful if your child is interested in music. It helps in music. There's empirical evidence. It helps in music. It helps in mathematics. And I will say it opens up a lot of doors. I can speak personally that it opened up a lot of doors for me. I had opportunities that were presented to me that normally I would not have gotten. You know, it helped me. You know, I was a Wall Street bond trader. It helped me get my job on Wall Street. I've met a lot of interesting people, you know, down at Stanford. I used to play at Stanford every Friday night. And one day, an older gentleman comes up. He asked me to play, and I say, "Yeah, I'd love to play." And I played, and he was very polite. He lost, and he walks away. And the guy next to me goes, "You know who that was?" I go, "No, that was Edward Teller." You know, so, yeah, and then I got to meet Shirley Temple Black. Yeah. And she knew a lot about chess. She actually knows some of the chess players that we know, and she was very erudite about it. Casper Weinberger was on the board of the mechanics. He was not a chess fan, unfortunately, but interesting guy. So, and I worked on a couple films with Robin Williams and Don Johnson. So, I mean, those are, I was the chess consultant for whatever, people were great. But they needed help setting up the board and telling people how to move. And
you never know.
It's fun stuff,
Yeah, it'll never know the opportunities that you will find by being involved in chess, because so many people play chess. Jazz musicians love to play chess, and you run into like Klay Thompson of the Golden State Warriors. He loves to play chess. So you might meet somebody that you've been paying money to go see.
A lot of movie stars. Humphrey Bogart was a good chess player.
Yeah.
William Wyndham, and John's met some of these people and worked with them. And tell them the story about Lone Pine in '78. This is a great story. You got to listen.
Well, look, I didn't. I mean, okay, it's a ridiculous story. I mean, it's the kind of thing that only happens to me.
The G
right?
rates.
Yeah. It's well, I was playing. It was the day I played Sammy Reshevsky. And there was a bit of a really famous grandmaster. Probably should have been world champion in the 30s and the 40s, from what I read. And Sammy was well, let's put it nicely, that the guys from the older generation were like real competitors and would do anything to win. And so the Reshevsky did this thing where he offered me a draw. And I thought about it, and then I accepted it. And then he said that he offered it 3 moves before. So there was all this sort of a chess incident. I wound up winning the game. And then my friend, international master who's no longer with us, Robert Kruhach, took me to the best restaurant in Lone Pine. It was called the Carousel.
It's the only restaurant in Lone Pine.
And then for some reason, we're sitting there, and I don't know why we start talking about movies, and I say something like, Apocalypse Now was just a ridiculous, and Marlon Brando's a moron, and he's a waste of money and whatnot, and all this, and then at some point, like, Kruhach is like twitching at me. He's doing something like this, like, oh my God. And I look over at Marlon Brando sitting next to me, staring at me. And I go, oh. And then he goes, get some talent, then you could talk. And I said, you know what? I told him, I said, you know what? I said, I think I have talent. I think I could have done a better job in Apocalypse Now than what you did.
Okay.
And of course, that really made him mad, so there was almost a fight.
Yeah. Well, John, what you're telling me right there is one of the things to become a world champion or a grandmaster class player is self-confidence. You've got to believe in yourself. Is that not true? Is that not true for you, Mark?
Well, yeah, you take your lumps, and after a loss, you're pretty depressed, and you got to bounce back. And it's a life, it's a life story. This is, kind of like you have a lot of disappointments in life, and chess is a microcosm of that. And you can have great victories, and it feels really good in the scheme of life. Maybe it's not that big a deal, but it teaches you lessons in life that you can carry on to other activities and other things, because life is full of disappointments. There's ups and downs.
Yeah.
Just like Sinatra said.
Yeah, chess. Like chess in life, ups and downs, and you just, after a while, I realized that there were so many good players, and when I played them, I just tried to play a good game and try to be competitive, and that would give me a chance to win. And and if I lost after a while, I realized losing was going to happen to everybody, and you had to some people give up chess because they can't deal with the losing.
That's right.
I've had some of my students who were good players. I was teaching a kid. He was 13 years old. He's like 2,300. But the losses, he couldn't take it, and he quit chess. I felt terrible about it, but it happens.
That's part of chess fitness. You've got to have your physical fitness. You've got to have your mental fitness, and you have to have a spiritual fitness. You have to have that fighting spirit. You must overcome the obstacles in your way. And
that's a microcosm for life. You got to be mentally tough. The world is a tough place.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it teaches you, there's a lot of things that are applicable from chess that you can apply to other things. And for young people that don't have the experience, I remember trying to teach my brother. He lost the first time he lost. He cried. I said, "It's not the end of the world." And it toughens you up for the disappointments in life, but it also teaches you discipline, perseverance,
Yes.
creativity. There's all kinds of things that, at different levels. And it's one of these things that the more you play, the more you realize how much you don't know.
Yes.
It's like anything else in any kind of subject matter. The more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know and how much more you can learn.
That's right.
And if you take the lessons from chess, and you don't have to become a professional chess player, it's more that you can apply the things that you learn from chess as a young person and apply it as life goes on. And even older people, you can learn from it. And it's just, you reach different stages of your life, and chess provides, as Jim alluded to, you can take up chess anytime in life, and you'll still benefit from it, and you'll still get, I think, net positive from it.
Yeah, I really agree with that. And there's a conversation in the chess world now about, is chess a sport? Is chess a science? Is chess an art? And what do you guys think about that? John, I'll ask you first.
Okay, I got something to comment on that as well.
I'm going for all of them above. All the above I'm going for. I'm going for all the above. I mean, look,
You're preaching to the choir.
I tell the little kids I teach, right? I tell them, look, what you guys are doing is kind of unbelievable, because, a lot of people can't play chess because you're all by yourself. Two little kids playing each other, you're all by yourself. It's a scary thing if you think about it. We went through it, but, the non-chess players don't really understand it a little bit. It really is sort of like boxing, I mean, it's just you're out there by yourself trying to beat this other person. They're trying to do it to you. So I think in that sort of respect, that it's a competition in a sport. I feel like that. So yeah, I'm going with all of them.
You got to have the willingness to hit and be hit. It's true in boxing. It's true
like boxing, and you got to put the work in, just like boxing.
Yeah.
I had an argument with. I was actually agreeing with Kasparov. We were down at Stanford, and I was talking to the coach of the Stanford football team, who I played for Michigan State, and I'm one of the few guys that was a master chess player and a varsity athlete in a Division I school. And Kasparov was arguing that chess was more strenuous than running, 5 miles. And I said, I've done both, and I'm telling you, a chess game is much more strenuous. And the coach who played the same time I did, and we knew each other when we were in school, disagreed. And he still didn't believe me, but I agreed with Kasparov that it can be very strenuous. Back in the old days when we used longer time controls, I had games that lasted 12 hours. That's stamina.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have to be in shape. In the old days, you had to be in, and you look at all the top grandmasters now, they're all in good shape.
That's right. I was going to ask you about the grandmaster diet. Have you guys heard of that?
Well, by looking at us, no.
No, but ESPN did a little article about the grandmaster diet, because all of these grandmasters now are fit. They eat well, they sleep well, they prepare for their games.
They run Magnus.
Hey, let me tell you something. When I read that article and they talked about Fabiano or something like that, I was like, you got to be kidding me. I exercised much more than he did back then. It wasn't even close. I mean, I didn't mean to do it. I would just go and wind up playing basketball for 4 hours.
Well,
and then I'd go home and study chess, and I'd be bored, and I'd go out running. I mean, it's all I did when I was a chess player.
We hung out together. We had the chess factory, with the Bagley, the Westwood Chess Club had a young bunch of guys that were good athletes. And some of us went on to play at higher levels, but they were all good athletes. We played, when we weren't playing chess, we'd be playing basketball or football or whatever, and we had a good workout. We were young then, we had a lot of energy, but we burned it off. And you have to have a balance, in life, physical and mental. You got to keep yourself in shape. And, there's one thing to work out physically, but you also have to work out mentally. If, both psychologically, as you mentioned, psychological toughness and resilience. And then, work on your calculation skills. And it's always good to look at the chess, but not touch the pieces. Just try to do it in your head.
Yeah.
Or look at chess problems and do it in your head. Don't touch the pieces. And it helps to work with a stronger player and analyze, even problems. It helps your creativity, pattern recognition, which is very important. Calculation, obviously, is very important. And you do calculation, I'm not saying every grandmaster looks 9 moves ahead, but you have to have the ability to do that if it requires it. Some tactical positions require you to look that far ahead. It's very difficult. But you have to train yourself.
You can't look 3 moves ahead because there's so many variations. But sometimes you can calculate that far, and it depends on the position. But, Joel was on the show last week, and he was talking about teaching kids. and his experience with that. And it's a lot very similar to what you guys are talking about now. Because really what is different growing up now than it was back in the day that we got in because of Bobby Fischer. But now there's chess programs in the schools. Like John, you're on the faculty of a school.
Yes, yes.
Now that was not the way it was X number of years ago.
It's a it's a class, and we teach the classes in the school are 45 minutes, and and we have our own chess room. My boss is a chess player named Sean O'Hanlon, and he's around the 1900, 2000 player. He's a good player, and he's the head of the program. And Irina Krush works for us also. And and so when we go to nationals and stuff, we have really good coaches. And it's funny to watch these kids. Some of them just like they love chess because kids love anything where they can beat each other.
Yeah.
Chess and chess is like that.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think it really starts to cost that much for the parents,
right?
Until you make the team and you start traveling to nationals and stuff like that.
Travel becomes
I love it when you're teaching kids and the young ladies, the girls, when they beat a boy, they're just so thrilled when they can beat the boys. That's that's a fun thing to watch.
Well, I told them that I lost very early on to a girl, and that that's it didn't bother me to lose the girls. I didn't lose to too many girls, to tell you the truth. I lost to maybe, but the first girl I lost to was Rachel Crotto in New York. And she was rated 200 points higher than me, and she just kicked my butt all over the place.
She's a former U.S.
She was a good player. She beat me fair and square. That's it.
Yeah. She's a former women's champion, U.S.
champion. Yeah. Rachel was a good player.
She was a good player. Nowadays, when we were teaching, Jim and I taught together for a while in San Francisco, and some of the parents were complaining because we weren't giving the kids enough homework. Things are a little different now.
My parents were really happy if I went away a weekend to the chess tournament.
I think so. Yeah. I think I never realized that they're just like trying to get rid of me.
Yeah. Well, we had Irina Krush on, and because she was describing what her experience with COVID was, and it's a very big deal, and it's also, I'm going to get to the point in just a second, but you, Mark, you, John, and myself, I went to the North Adams State Chess Club because my father taught there. So, we got there by going to clubs and playing people now, but you can't really do that anymore, at least right now, because of the COVID.
Right now, yes.
Yeah. So
I'm hoping the Marshall Chess Club, I'm hoping everything, I don't know when it's going to happen. I feel like it's not going to be for a long time. I don't know what happened, but it's kind of turned into a weird existence where we're afraid to go outside.
Yep.
The weird thing is that it hasn't affected chess. I'm like teaching like there's no tomorrow on this computer.
Also, there's tournaments online. The Mechanics Institute has like 3 tournaments a week online. Anybody can enter. Yeah. I would recommend anybody who wants to play. It's open to all. It's the milibrary.org is the website. I suggest you go onto it, look at it, and there's tournaments on a daily basis almost. And you're going to play strong players. There's GMs and women GMs, IMs.
Chessclub.org, isn't it? That's another way.
Chessclub.org is another one. There are strong players online, and you can play at any level. You can pick your opponents and put a bandwidth of what kind of strength you want to play. And I recommend that you try it, see if you like it. And, seeing that we can't go out, as we used to, it's a great alternative. And who knows, you may meet some people. And if you decide to travel to whatever city these people are in, you have a friend.
Yes. And you know what, Mark, when I moved out to California, I moved out for work. Because in Massachusetts at the time, there was no work. It was before the age of computers and Wang, where people got jobs. So when I graduated from college, I had to go to California to find work. You graduated? Yeah, I did. I got a certificate somewhere. That's what friends are for, to call you on this stuff. But I did graduate, and I did come to California, but my job transferred me around. But every place I landed, I knew where to find a chess club. And so I could always find, I was never alone in a new city because there was always chess players there. And that was one of the gifts in my life because, man, you're starting out.
Chess, wherever you go, if you meet a chess player, all of a sudden you got a friend who'll show you the places to go.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing to have. You know, I'm not saying if you get in the jam where, you know, you got 5 guys mugging you, they're going to be talking to you about chess, but you don't go to those places. But I found it as a camaraderie that, you know, once you say you're a chess player, you're accepted. And, you know, it's led to a lot of great friendships and exciting adventures, to say the least.
Yes.
John's got a few stories I'm sure that he could tell. I don't know.
I traveled so much. I lived in Europe. I mean, I love going to Europe. I mean, I lived in Germany for 3 years with another grandmaster, our friend GM Larry Christensen.
Yeah.
And
what
we
about
played
Barcelona?
in
Talk about
Barcelona was really nice. I mean, you know, I mean, I think if I stayed in Europe, I would have become I mean, I ended up as a pretty good chess player, but I think I would have even better if I stayed in Europe. It's a completely different kind of thing there. You know, I mean, in some countries, chess is maybe like the 3rd most popular game after basketball and, you know, and soccer, of course. Yeah, football.
Well,
and so,
you know, every town has its
and,
team, you know, so it's like they sponsor these teams. They take, you know, pride in how their teams do, both in
yeah, it was a big deal.
It was.
Yeah.
Bundesliga.
Yes.
The Bundesliga was really, the German league was really a big league. It had all the best players, and you know, and we were playing matches against the, you know, my team was maybe the 2nd or 3rd best team. I think we won it the first year I was there, and our coach was so happy. You know, it's like.
Yeah. Well, Ankit is one of the IBM TV hosts, and he's from New Delhi, India, and he's been trying to teach me cricket. And good luck with that, Ankit. But also, when we were,
you know, Jim, I was watching. You know, during this weird time, like I'm completely jet lagged. I mean, my school is done, so I'm up all night and I sleep all day, and you know, and I was watching cricket this morning, Pakistan against England.
There you go.
Yeah, and
England got its butt kicked, I'm sure.
No, I think England was winning.
Oh, really?
I think England was winning. And, you know, and it's kind of cool to have that bat, and they, you know, and you gotta, you know, the guy bounces the ball, and a friend of mine in England tried to teach me, you know, the rules of that, and I was like, this isn't baseball. I can't watch this. But
well, they haven't.
This morning I watched it for a while.
Yeah,
it was cool though. It was
there
cool.
Were similarities, yeah.
Yeah.
So good luck to him teaching me cricket. But you know, when we started playing, John, when the Fisher boom happened, there weren't any grandmasters from India that we knew about. Now that has completely changed. We had a world champion from India.
Oh yeah, Vishwanathan and also you know, I mean, I was pretty good friends with Vishy. I hung out with him at a lot of tournaments in the old days, you know, and I realized that if you went to an Indian restaurant with Vishy, you didn't have to pay. So I mean, one time I was like, geez, if I'd known that, I would have gotten another beer. You know, it's like, come on.
When I was playing in Beale, you know, I hung out with him for about a week, and you know, I saw some of the greatest games I've ever seen him play. And we'd go out to an Indian restaurant at night, and he'd order the hottest. I said, "You order for me," because I don't know what I'm doing. He'd order the hottest thing, and then watch me suffer.
Yeah,
you know, and it was a big joke, but I survived.
Yeah.
No, he's a very nice person. Still
really
a great
nice
player.
guy.
Still a great player now. Even now, you know, long time. He's in his 40s, but still in the top 10 and holding, you know, and holding steady. You know.
Amazing.
Yeah, one of my favorite players to watch. Because,
and a nice person, and his wife is great. And I haven't met his child, unfortunately, but what a great couple. And
I hope he's okay. You know, I mean, it was. I hope he's okay. There was a weird story where he went to a tournament and never made it home, and he was stuck in Germany, and he might still be in Germany. Couldn't get back to India.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, all right, Germany's a nice place. If you're going to get stuck, you know, being stuck in Germany is not so bad, you know. But I hope he made it back, because this pandemic thing is really ridiculous.
John, we got a comment from the audience, and it says he needs another standard move. He starts off with the same move, usually a knight. And so what would be the first move that you would tell him to play?
Well, I mean, if he wants to do a first move with the knight, and you move that knight near the king to like the F3 square, if the people know the notation, I think that's, you know, a perfectly good move.
Yeah.
And then, but after that, you got to bring your pawns out. And in chess, we're always trying to control the center.
Yes.
You know, it's the main thing in chess. Get your pieces out, control the center, and get castled. And if you do that, you'll always be in the game. You'll always be playing a good game.
It's
and
one
I
of
think
the themes in this.
the guy did Chess for Dummies.
Yeah.
Jim was so proud about Chess for Dummies. He goes to me one time. It's been published in 15 languages. It's in Russian and Chinese.
I called him because it got into Russian. It was translated.
But, you know,
Russian,
Mark, I don't know. Did you see that cartoon I sent to Jim?
No.
Oh, it's a great cartoon. It's a political cartoon. It has like all of the Europeans playing chess, you know, and against an American, and Trump is there watching, and Trump is holding the book Chess for Dummies. It's great, unbelievable publicity for Jim. Unbelievable.
But I called Mark when Chess for Dummies was translated into Russian, which, you know, it's ridiculous that I am going to be teaching chess to a Russian kid. But so I called Mark to tell him. And what did you say, Mark?
When it's going to be published in English.
He didn't miss a beat.
And by the way, speaking of Trump, when I was playing in Budapest, I took a summer off from my job and I traveled around Europe and played. And I ran into Trump in '97 in Budapest. And it was just random. He's talking to his ex-wife. He's having dinner at a fancy restaurant in Hero Square, right by the Parliament building. And he seemed, polite and nice. And I was mildly impressed. Unfortunately, not that impressed with him at the moment. But we won't talk about politics. But he seemed like a reasonable guy at that point, '97. Yeah. But it was just random. I ran into him and started talking. He was polite.
Well, so what would you advise someone? Say we're back to abnormal times, like the way we were before the pandemic, and they could go to a chess club, and you could meet players. And I think Joel also said this too. To have somebody a little bit better than you to play against, so that you can get up to their level, and then find somebody a little bit better and get up to your level. That's one way to make progress. How else would you improve your fitness? Now, we don't live in the age of books anymore, but we were talking about you got to play. You got to play against somebody better than you. That's
I'm with Joel. And you play. You can play with people better than you if you can do it. Otherwise, just play. And then if you want to improve, you just analyze the game. That's what Joel. We were always saying: play and analyze. Play and analyze.
And hopefully,
those are the two things. If you do that, that's the way to go. That's I mean. For a chess player, there's always one question that chess players are always asking, and you could if whenever we went to big tournaments, like something called the World Open, you'd go there it's always in Philadelphia, 1,000 maybe 800 people, and you walk around the room, and what the chess player is always walking around, you always go like, where did I go wrong?
Yes.
Where did I go wrong? And they say that if in chess, if you don't make the same mistake twice, you're going to be really good.
That's very true. Well said, John.
Thank you, Jim.
I think about analyzing is so important, and that's why we need to record our moves. That's what I think of in terms of chess literacy. We've got to become chess literate to be able to read and write notation. If you can read notation, it opens up the vast ocean of chess literature for you. There are so many books that we all study. We wherever we grew up, we studied some of the same books, I can guarantee you, because these are classics. And so now even online, you'll find some guys like Peter Svidler is a great on video. He will analyze, but sometimes the grandmaster will get on and talk above my head. So it's one of those things where you've got to find someone who can talk to you and they've got to meet you where you are in order to help you.
Jim, Jim, come on, Jim. You see, Jim's just being modest there. Jim is strong enough that even when the grandmaster's talking, deep stuff, Jim and Mark would know what they're talking about. No problem.
Thank you, John. But
anything for you, Jim.
You're right.
I like to play a game and you analyze it. Try to analyze it with a stronger player because
Yes.
They'll see stuff and they'll inform you on the reason why the move is not the optimal move. And that's something that, it's acquired. It's acquired. You get to get a sense of a position, play positions that you're comfortable with. I'm not saying play the same opening every time, but you play and you find out what you get a feel for the position, what the right move in the position. There's certain positions where you don't even have to calculate. You know what the right move is, and that's something that you get with experience.
Yes.
And it's something that's hard to explain, but it just comes natural.
You have to play to acquire that experience.
It's like muscle memory. And when if you play a musical instrument, it's one of these things where you just know what the right note is or what the right chord is.
And it's pattern recognition. You see the pattern, and then all of a sudden,
similar thought process.
Yeah. And also, when you're analyzing, and correct me if I'm wrong here, or I'll just talk about myself. I learned more from my losses than I ever won from playing over my wins.
That's what you learn more from your losses than your wins.
Yeah. So don't be.
When you lose, you're playing a stronger player, so you're going to lose if you.
Oh no, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that, Mark. I think you could learn a lot from your wins too, because the thing is, I tell the kids sometimes, right?
Well, I don't have any wins, so
they play some guy. They play another kid. The kid beats them, right? And then we go over the game, and I go, look, next time you play this kid, you do exactly the same thing, because your opponent won the game. He's happy. He thinks he played great. He's not going to look at the game that much. And that's why you need to go over your wins too. Your wins have a lot of stuff in there also. But when we're playing in tournaments, the thing was to go over the game with your opponent afterwards. So you could pick each other's brains. It's a great way. That's how that's like a real lesson. When you do that, you learn so much.
We call that the postmortem. After the game is over, the death of the game, and then you start to analyze. And with your opponent, because you were both thinking about that same game for so long. And it's a lost art so much some days now, especially online. You can't really do that. But that was a very valuable process. And it was so social, too. Now you're talking, instead of beating your brains out against this guy for 4 hours, now you're actually talking.
It was a lot of fun in some of the postmortems because, become friends with these people and you'll share a meal. You do it over dinner or a beer or whatever, or soda pop.
I made a friend a chess tournament. Every chess tournament, I made a new friend. Because after your game, you both got to eat before the next game starts. So you go out to eat together. And so
I met Jim at a chess tournament in Las Vegas. I was minding my own business, and I had just lost a horrible game, and I was enjoying a $1 Heineken because in Las Vegas everything's cheap. And Jim walks up to me, and I'd never seen the guy before, and I'm afraid, I played an opening I didn't know, and I lost badly. And Jim walks up to me and goes, "Nice opening," and I'm like, who the heck is this guy? What is this guy's problem?
How to endear yourself.
I looked at Jim and I said, "Nice teeth."
I had braces at the time. Yeah. And it was cruel. He thought I was going to cry.
I was there for that one. Was it? I think I was there.
Well, this was after I won my game pretty easily, and I'm going over to watch John's game because he's playing Bill Kelleher from Boston. So he's a guy I know. And so I'm looking at Bill's game, and Bill is rolling over John in a Dragon Sicilian. It looked like to me. I don't know if it was.
Yeah.
So I go to the bar. I'm having that $1 Heineken, and then John comes up and he sits one stool over from me, and he's miserable looking into his. And so I know John's reputation. John was a big, tough guy at the time, and in those days. And I said, there's only two things that are going to happen. One is John and I are going to become friends, or John's going to have a fight. I'm going to be in a fight with John and lose. And but either way, it's a great story. So I said, "Hey, John, nice opening."
John packed a good punch. I've seen it in action.
Yeah, without a beat, he fired back, "Nice teeth." And he said, I thought you were going to cry," and we both started laughing. And friends for life.
Yeah, and we were friends ever since. Very good friends.
Yes. And I invited John when I lived in San Francisco and in Menlo Park to spend time with us. And before I had John over the first time in San Francisco, I had a guy that both of us know, Danny Olam. Now, so Danny Olam kind of soured my wife on chess guys. And so she was not too happy that I'm inviting John over to my house. And he's going to stay with us a couple days. I don't know. Yeah. So he reversed all of her image about chess players because he was just fun-loving, regular guy. And so now I can invite any chess player over to my house again.
You guys are great ambassadors for chess, and I think anybody would be happy to have you as a guest for a very short period.
Well, Mark, you too, Mark. I mean, we all, you know, I mean, I've hung out with all you guys, and Jim and Mark have been nice enough to sponsor tournaments in the Bay Area and invite me. You know, it was always nice to like fly to San Francisco and hang out, and and play in the tournament at the Mechanics. I played there probably like 5 or 6 times or something like that. Jim put us. One time Jim got me and GM Joel Benjamin a suite at the Hyatt Embarcadero. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, but Joel got the bed. You got the couch.
I was nice to him. I don't know why he did that. I was too nice back then. I mean,
he
now
said it was the nicest bed he ever slept
now
in.
I tell him, hey, I'm old. I'm taking the bed. You take the cot. I mean, go. But I didn't want to bother him. I was like getting up. I loved San Francisco back then. I used to wake up early and go running up and down the hills.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a nice tour. I remember we watched the World Cup. You were rooting for France for some reason.
I was going to say that's the first time that John ever got angry with me is because I was going les bleus, because I was a French player at the time. I played the French, so I was rooting for the French.
Yeah, well, I told him that's a flimsy thing if there ever was.
Yeah, he got mad at me. It may not have been the last time, but it was the first time. So, Mark, after you actually had a financial career. Maybe IBM TV has Economics Monday. Maybe we'll get you on as a guest there. But your career in finance, you told us that chess played a big role in you getting your first job and probably throughout your career.
Trading, I was a bond trader, and a lot of the thought process that went in chess, thinking ahead, thinking of combinations, and when you had to hedge yourself, and the mathematics that's involved, a lot of similar thought process. I kind of quit playing chess because my job was so similar that, and plus it was so stressful. I was trading billions of dollars of, face value. And you get burned out. I wouldn't go to the tournament on weekends because I'm trying to recover from the week. And a lot of chess players were very successful in the finance. A lot of traders that currency trading, and Bankers Trust used to hire chess players specifically for that reason.
That's right.
But a lot of them went on to become hedge funds managers. A lot of grandmasters ended in the finance, and they've done very well. And I'll make the argument: a strong chess player, and I'm generalizing, but I think any occupation that they endeavor that they wanted to do, they'd be good at because they have the discipline, they have the mental capacity. And we've seen a lot of people that are very successful in other fields that were very strong chess players. And, there's a lot of examples. The list is too long to really get into. But, I mean, you look at somebody.
You guys remember the Gong Show?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we just got gonged. So we're going to have to bring this show to a close. But I tell you, I'm really happy to have the two of you as my guests on this show.
It's great. Hey, Jim, it's nice to see you. Mark, also. I love you guys, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it's been great. It was a great experience, and thank you for the invite. And to the audience, thank you for listening and putting up with us.
Bye-bye, guys.
Take care. Thanks again. Bye.
You bet. Thanks for coming. Okay. I thought I got gonged. Hey, Mark.